Part 32. Landing 300 years in advance. Author, Chao Ji Peng. Chapter 315. Tap tap. After Ji Hao broke through, he immediately stepped forward impatiently. The surrounding disciples were slightly shocked when they saw Ji Hao's movements. They glanced at Ji Hao and immediately knew that Ji Hao's cultivation had broken through to the late 4th stage. It's worthy of the Golden Tiger Divine Body. Several disciples sighed slightly. Even if Ji Hao's Golden Tiger Divine Body is not as good as Chen Ronghuo's Holy Tiger Divine Body in the Holy Tiger sect, it is not comparable to them. However, this time, they were not too curious about whether Ji Hao could surpass Chen Ronghuo. Because with the talent shown by Chen Ronghuo, even if Ji Hao could surpass Chen Ronghuo, it would be useless. It should be possible. But for Ji Hao himself, surpassing Chen Ronghuo has become an obsession of his. After approaching Chen Ronghuo, he set his eyes on Chen Ronghuo and looked at the remaining distance between the two. After finding that there were still a few meters, he gritted his teeth, withstood the pressure, and walked forward again. At this time, the pressure he was under would affect his comprehension of the Holy Tiger Crazy demonic skill. Someone is coming, could it be Ji Hao? At this time, Chen Ronghuo heard the movement and his heart moved. The footsteps of ordinary practitioners walking in the Holy Tiger secret realm would not be so loud. Only when they forcibly move forward under the pressure will they make such loud footsteps. So, he thought of Ji Hao. After thinking about it, Chen Ronghuo did not turn his head, but used the ancient book to calculate. It turned out to be him. After calculating that the person was really Ji Hao, Chen Ronghuo's face suddenly showed a strange look. Are you trying to surpass me? Chen Ronghuo smiled in his heart, and then pretended that he didn't notice that it was Ji Hao who came over. He moved his footsteps and walked straight ahead without looking back. At this time, Zhang Haiming heard the footsteps coming from behind him, turned his head to check, and just happened to see Chen Ronghuo's actions. He subconsciously said, "Junior brother, what are you doing?" "Sixth senior brother, I have broken through to the middle stage of the 4th stage, and I will go to the depths to practice first," Chen Ronghuo said to Zhang Haiming, and then passed Zhang Haiming and walked into the depths of the Holy Tiger secret realm. Breakthrough. Zhang Haiming opened his mouth slightly, but no sound came out, and he held it in his stomach. It has only been 5 months since Chen Ronghuo joined the Holy Tiger sect. In 5 months, Chen Ronghuo practiced the Holy Tiger crazy magic from scratch, but directly practiced from 0 to the middle stage of the 4th stage, which made him begin to doubt his life. At this time, Chen Ronghuo had walked forward more than 50 steps in one breath. Damn it! Compared to Zhang Haiming's depression, Ji Hao, who had just walked to the position before Chen Ronghuo, was even more pale. Now, he was under such a great pressure, not only did he not catch up with Chen Ronghuo, but even his Holy Tiger Crazy Fist was affected. After Chen Ronghuo left, he saw Zhang Haiming looking at him with a strange expression, and his expression was even more embarrassed. Huh. After a moment, Ji Hao exhaled, stopped insisting, and took a few steps back. For the sake of face, it is obviously not worth wasting a few days in the Holy Tiger secret realm. At the same time, after he took a few steps back, his mind suddenly became clear, and he thought, I can't compete with Chen Ronghuo like this in the future. In the Holy Tiger sect, he has a much greater advantage than me. It's different now. Now instead of competing with him, I might as well find a way to make friends with him. Thinking of this, Ji Hao immediately made a decision. At this time, after Chen Ronghuo walked forward for more than 50 steps, he immediately calmed down again and continued to comprehend the Holy Tiger Crazy Demon Art. After he practiced the Holy Tiger Crazy Demon Art to the 14th level, the immortal demon blood hidden in his body instantly released a large amount. It also greatly improved his understanding of the law of immortality in a short period of time. The special relationship between the two, as long as he practices the blood law, he can make the law of immortality progress rapidly. At the same time, Chen Ronghuo also knew that after this time, he would not be far away from breaking through the lower Danshan with the immortal demonic scripture as the core to the fourth stage. Time passed. In a blink of an eye, the last 4 days passed. On this day, Chen Ronghuo felt the core disciple token hanging on his waist vibrate slightly, and immediately woke up from his immersion in the comprehension of the technique. After he finished his practice, he exhaled and turned to walk out of the Holy Tiger secret realm. A month of practice not only made him progress rapidly. This kind of practice method under strong pressure at all times also made his momentum more condensed, giving people a sense of calmness. Unfortunately, 1 month is too short. What Chen Ronghuo regretted was that he could only stay in the Holy Tiger secret realm for 1 month every year. If he was given some more time, he should be able to break through the immortal demonic scripture to the fourth stage. At this time, seeing Chen Ronghuo walking towards the Holy Tiger secret realm, Ji Hao, who was 1 step later than him and was almost up, felt moved. Junior brother is leaving. When Chen Ronghuo came to his side, Ji Hao suddenly said, "Junior brother and I joined the Holy Tiger sect together, condensed the Holy Tiger seal together, and entered the Holy Tiger secret realm together this time. It can be said that we are destined to be together. It's just that before, I wanted to see junior brother, but it was as difficult as ascending to heaven. How about this time, we go out together and get together at the Tiger Roaring Tower? The Tiger Roaring Tower is the property of the Holy Tiger sect. Many disciples of the Holy Tiger sect like to get together at the Tiger Roaring Tower." Hearing Ji Hao's invitation, Chen Ronghuo was slightly surprised. He did not expect that Ji Hao, who had intended to compete with him before, would become so kind in just a few days. "Sorry." Chen Ronghuo, who knew Ji Hao's background well, would not be deceived by Ji Hao's change. He flatly refused and said, "My cultivation is too low. I really don't want to waste time on eating and drinking, so forget it this time. It's useless to meet with Ji Hao. With this time, he might as well think more about how to improve his cultivation as soon as possible." After the words fell, he passed by Ji Hao directly, walked out of the area covered by the golden and red light, took out the core disciple token, took the teleportation array, and returned directly to his residence. "Don't know how to show your kindness." Looking at Chen Ronghuo's back disappearing, Ji Hao's face was uncertain for a while. He did not expect that Chen Ronghuo would not give him face. And the eyes of several disciples around him looked at Ji Hao with strange expressions. At the same time, after Chen Ronghuo left the Holy Tiger secret realm, the Holy Tiger in the depths of the Holy Tiger secret realm, as well as Wu Tianchuo, also retracted their gazes. In this world, there are some special secret techniques that can seize the qualifications of some geniuses. But qualifications are all condensed by laws. So the more powerful the genius, the harder it is to seize the qualifications. For a genius like Chen Ronghuo, who has awakened the Holy Tiger divine body with a very high blood concentration, it is estimated that only a true god who is good at this method can take away his blood qualification. So, after they found that Chen Ronghuo had awakened the Holy Tiger divine body, they never thought of Chen Ronghuo's qualifications. Suddenly, the young man in the golden robe asked, "Have you arranged it?" Wu Tianchuo immediately replied, "Don't worry, Lord Shengu, I have arranged it, and I will definitely let this boy practice to the 5th level as soon as possible." In the demon sealing land, in the Shenyang territory, the 4th level practitioners are too weak in their eyes. Even the aftermath of the battle of some strong men cannot be withstood. But the 5th level is different. A 5th level cultivator, whether in the God's continent or the sealed demon land, is already considered a small strong man with a certain degree of self-protection. That's good. Shengu nodded. He was looking forward to the day when Chen Ronghuo could use the treasure left by the founder of the Shengu sect. "I heard that senior brother Chen has awakened the Shengu divine body." His cultivation in the Shengu secret realm is lower than Jihao's, but the distance he can go into the Shengu secret realm is hundreds of meters beyond Jihao. In Chen Ronghuo's yard, the errant disciples who had just finished their cultivation were all excited when they whispered to each other. They were all errant disciples who followed Chen Ronghuo. The higher Chen Ronghuo's status in the Shengu sect, the higher their status in the Shengu sect will be. Yes, I heard about it too. Another errant disciple said, I was wondering before, how could senior brother Chen, who didn't have a special physique, condense the holy tiger mark like Jihao? Now everything is clear. During this period, because some disciples left the holy tiger secret realm before Chen Ronghuo, the news that he awakened the holy tiger body had spread widely in the holy tiger sect. Swish. Chen Ronghuo's figure flashed and walked out of the teleportation array behind his yard. With his current hearing ability, he could hear the discussions of the errant disciples without deliberately doing it. He shook his head, and his mentality did not change because of this. The holy tiger body that others wanted so much must be just a transition for him. Buzz. Suddenly, Chen Rong'an lowered his head and felt the sound transmission box that his third senior brother Peng Yun had given him before, and it shook slightly. Come to my place. He picked up the sound transmission box and activated it, and Lin Qingtian's voice immediately rang out from it. After getting this sound transmission box, he has already memorized the box numbers of Lin Qingtian and several other senior brothers and sisters. Similarly, Lin Qingtian and the others also memorized his box number. I wonder what the master wants me to do. Chen Ronghuo's heart moved slightly. After putting the sound transmission box away, he immediately walked out of the yard. Senior Brother Chen. Congratulations to Senior Brother Chen for awakening the holy tiger body. Seeing Chen Ronghuo, all the errant disciples congratulated him. Qin Duanwen and Tao Yuking were also among them. Chen Ronghuo glanced at everyone, identified their attributes after a month, and smiled slightly. Thank you, you have worked hard this month. I said before that I would reward you, and I will keep my word. But I have to go to Beihu Peak first, and I will reward you after I come back. After the words fell, he opened the yard, soared into the air, and flew straight to Beihu Peak. Beihu Peak. When Chen Ronghuo arrived, only Lin Qingtian was here. After seeing Chen Ronghuo walk up to him and salute him, Lin Qingtian sat on the Peak Master's throne, looked at Chen Ronghuo seriously and said, when I accepted you as my disciple, I thought you had good talent. But I didn't expect that you actually had a hidden holy tiger body that had not yet awakened. At this point, Lin Qingtian also had some feelings. Chen Ronghuo awakened the holy tiger body and received the attention of Lord Shengu and the Great Elder, which benefited him and gave him some rewards. This was something he had never thought of before. You know, it has only been 5 months since Chen Ronghuo joined the Holy Tiger sect. Chen Ronghuo flattered, my achievements today are all due to the cultivation of the master. Cultivation. Lin Qingtian looked strange. He shook his head and said, I know how much I have helped you, you don't have to flatter me. He is an honest man, he will never take credit for anything that is not his own. After saying this, he stopped talking nonsense and said directly, I called you here this time to assign you a task. Assign a task? Chen Ronghuo was stunned. He had read the introduction of the section as a core disciple of the Holy Tiger sect, he should only need to complete a task of the corresponding level every 5 years. Seeing Chen Ronghuo's expression, Lin Qingtian already knew what Chen Ronghuo was thinking. He shook his head and said, this task was specially assigned by the Great Elder after you awakened the Holy Tiger divine body. The task requires you to go to the 5-sided White Forest, and in the next year, do your best to compete with the disciples of the other 4 sects of our 5-sex alliance in the 5-sided White Forest to improve your ranking. 5-sided White Forest. Chen Ronghuo's heart moved. Through the introduction of the sect, he knew that the five-sided White Forest was a special place jointly created by the Five Sects Alliance for the disciples of the five sects to compete with each other and increase practical experience. For the harmony of the Five Sects Alliance, the disciples of the five sects compete in the five-sided White Forest. Whether before or after the competition, they cannot speak wildly, insult others, or show arrogant looks. Such a rule is very strange. But it is precisely because of this weird rule that the Five Sects Alliance has been allied for tens of thousands of years without much conflict between each other. Chen Ronghuo thinks the person who set this rule is very interesting. Obviously, such rules can avoid many conflicts. Whether for mortals or practitioners, conflicts are caused by more than just interests. When Chen Ronghuo was on Earth, he often saw people on the internet quarreling with each other for a long time because of some small things like tone of voice. Yes, Lin Qingtian nodded. Disciples who go to Wuifangbilan can earn sect contribution points by sparring with disciples from other four sects. You have awakened the holy tiger body. No matter how you perform in Wuifangbilan, you can get 3 times the contribution points. This is also your reward. 3 times the contribution points? Chen Ronghuo's eyes lit up slightly. Going to Wuifangbilan may also be a good choice. Sufficient contribution points can also be used to exchange for the opportunity to enter the Holy Tiger Secret Realm. The Holy Tiger Secret Realm still has a great auxiliary role for Chen Ronghuo now. Also, go to the 5 Directions White Forest and compete with the other 4 sects to improve my ranking in the 5 Directions White Forest. Putting others below me should help me speed up my understanding of the law of calamity. This time, he has already experimented in the Holy Tiger Secret Realm. He surpassed those disciples who didn't want to be surpassed by him, and he has received a lot of feedback from the heaven and earth about the breadth of the law of calamity. I wrote a little more, so I posted it slowly. Sorry, I will try to post it earlier tomorrow. Thanks to Winterbee for the 1000 coin reward. Landing 300 years in advance. Author, Xiaoji Depeng. Chapter 316. Yes, Master, wait for me to go back and deal with some chores, and then go to Wuifangbilan immediately. Chen Ronghuo agreed. In addition to earning sect contribution points and obtaining feedback on the breadth of the law of calamity from the disciples of Wuifangbilan, he can also take this opportunity to spread his reputation. After his reputation spreads, Huang Lin, Zhu Deipen, and Li Haishui will definitely find a way to contact him. It has been 5 months since he came to this world, and it is time to contact a few people. His cultivation speed is already very fast. If it is faster, there will be unnecessary trouble. So the part of the power of faith he took out from the territory before was actually prepared for Huang Lin and others. However, he can do this because he took out a lot of divine attributes from the Lord statue of Chang Soon Ping in Beiwu City last time. After he integrated those divine attributes into his noble mark, the time his noble mark can store the power of faith immediately became much longer than before. Lin Qingtian nodded. In that case, then you can go back first. Yes, Master. Chen Ronghuo said goodbye to Lin Qingtian and bowed and left immediately. After walking out of the hall, he greeted the huge white tiger crouching outside, jumped into the undulating white clouds, rushed down, and soon returned to his own courtyard. Brother Chen. Brother Chen is back. The errand disciples greeted Chen Ronghuo when they saw him coming back. Ye Chen Ronghuo nodded. He swept through the errand disciples and finally set his sights on Qin Duanwen, Tao Yuking, Quan Yuping, Xu Sheng, and Yao Haoshan. I said before that diligence can make up for lack of talent. You follow me, and as long as you work hard to practice, you will achieve something in the future. While speaking, he flipped his hand and took out a white pill bottle. Swish. After taking out the pill bottle, he used his left hand's ability to instantly extract all the attributes of the pill bottle, revealing the 5 red glowing pills inside. This move of his immediately shocked Qin Duanwen and the others. With their strength, they naturally couldn't see how the white pill bottle disappeared. They could only speculate that it was because Chen Ronghuo was too strong. Then, their eyes were firmly attracted by the 5 pills floating in front of them with red light after the pill bottle disappeared. These 5 pills are what I got from a strange encounter before. They can not only enhance your cultivation, but also improve your martial arts qualifications. Chen Ronghuo looked at the expressions of the crowd and spoke slowly. Enhance cultivation, improve martial arts qualifications. When the crowd heard this, their hearts were shocked and their eyes became hot. There are many pills that enhance cultivation. But pills that improve martial arts qualifications are rare even in the Holy Tiger sect. Especially for these menial disciples who have only a little martial arts qualification, no one knows better than themselves what a pill that can improve their martial arts qualifications means. Before this, they thought that Chen Ronghuo could reward them with some pills that could increase their cultivation, which would be good enough. But they didn't expect that Chen Ronghuo would be so generous. However, they didn't know that the pills Chen Ronghuo took out were actually waste pills made by the alchemist of the alchemy hall in Lushwiven town. The reason why this waste pill has such magical functions is that Chen Ronghuo has integrated a martial arts qualification attribute and some blood attributes into it. It is precisely because of this that this pill, which is no different from a magic medicine for these menial disciples, is within Chen Ronghuo's reach. However, don't show off your wealth. He took out 5 pills at a time and rewarded them to his subordinates, which was enough. The rest needs to wait until he has a further foothold in the sect before he can continue to take out pills and reward others. Okay, seeing everyone's expressions, Chen Ronghuo shook his head and said, I will stay in Wuifangbalan for a year. While there is still time, you guys should take these pills now so that I can protect you. These pills were made by him using his left hand's supernatural power. So he had to watch them take these pills on the spot. Otherwise, once these pills were taken away by these menial disciples, it would be a troublesome thing for him if they were discovered and studied. Thank you, Senior Brother Chen. Qin Duanwen, Tao Yuking, and the other 3 menial disciples were all excited when they heard this. They all grabbed the pills floating in front of them and swallowed them without any hesitation. According to the rules of the Holy Tiger sect, they were not worried that Chen Ronghuo would harm them. And with their weak strength, Chen Ronghuo, as a core disciple of the sect who awakened the Holy Tiger divine body, had a noble status, and there was no need for him to harm them. Boom boom boom. This pill made by Chen Ronghuo himself has a very powerful effect. As soon as the pill was taken by several people, the blood and qi properties contained in it flowed into the long river of blood and qi in their bodies, causing the long river of blood and qi to rush through their bodies, making a huge boom boom sound. Guan Yuping, Xu Sheng, and Yao Haoshan, who originally had the late first level cultivation, broke through to the peak of the first level on the spot after taking the pill. As for Qin Duanwen and Tao Yuking, who were already at the peak of the first level, after a slight pain appeared on their faces, the blood in their dantian surged sharply, breaking through from the peak of the first level to the early stage of the second level. Whether it is Qin Duanwen, who has a scholarly air, or Tao Yuking, who is dressed beautifully and looks like a woman in her 20s, they are actually 30 years old. However, with their qualifications, it is rare to be able to cultivate to the peak of the first level at this age. Even if they don't meet Chen Ronghuo, they will rely on their own efforts in the future. It is not impossible to cultivate to the second level in 10 or 20 years. But, it is obviously too late. Thank you, Senior Brother Chen, we will follow Senior Brother Chen's lead in the future. After the breakthrough in cultivation, the 5 people looked at each other and gave a great gift to Chen Ronghuo. They could sense that not only did their cultivation improve, but some strange changes seemed to have occurred in their bodies. Thinking of the elixir that Chen Ronghuo just mentioned, which also has the effect of improving the qualifications of warriors, they couldn't help but speed up their heartbeats. The other disciples who were not far away also made the same action, unwilling to fall behind. Get up. Chen Ronghuo waved his hand, and a gentle force was emitted, lifting up all the people. These people are his foundation in the Holy Tiger sect. Although it is not very useful, it can also set off his face to a certain extent. At the same time, he cultivated his own power in the Holy Tiger sect, and in the eyes of the high-level officials of the Holy Tiger sect, they would also feel that they have a sense of belonging to the Holy Tiger sect. Otherwise, he would always be alone, and do nothing except relying on the power of the Holy Tiger sect to practice, which would definitely leave a bad impression on people. I still have such pills, and even better pills. His eyes fell on the disciples with ruddy faces and standing upright, and Chen Ronghuo said lightly, "Next, I will go to Wuifangbelan. When I return from Wuifangbelan in a year, I will see your performance. As long as you perform well and as long as you work hard enough, everyone will have a chance." As Chen Ronghuo's voice fell, everyone's eyes lit up. Especially the dozen people who just didn't get the reward, they are eager to try. They made up their minds that they must work hard in the next year to strive for Chen Ronghuo's reward. Before this, Chen Ronghuo only said that there would be rewards for them, and some of them didn't take it too seriously. Because since they followed Chen Ronghuo has been very stingy. But none of them thought that Chen Ronghuo would be so earth-shattering if he didn't reward them. Who wouldn't want a pill that can improve cultivation and qualifications like this? "Brother Chen, you are going to Wuifangbelan, maybe you can use this." At this time, Tao Yuking suddenly bowed to Chen Ronghuo, took out a booklet, and handed it to Chen Ronghuo. She seemed to have just broken through, her cheeks flushed, and her charm was radiant. "Wuifangbelan is an extremely important stronghold of our five-sex alliance. Each sect sends elite disciples to Wuifangbelan for competition, not only to enhance the actual combat ability of elite disciples, but also to allocate some resources shared by the five sects. So in Wuifangbelan, there is a ranking list of elite disciples of the five sects. This list is circulated in each section. I was curious about it, so I bought a copy. This is the latest version." Since she knew that Chen Ronghuo had no intention of communicating with other core disciples last time, she began to think of other ways to please Chen Ronghuo. So, not only the ranking list of elite disciples of the five sects in Wuifangbelan, but also various kinds of information in her hands. There are still a lot of them. Qin Duanwen, who was standing aside, moved his face after Tao Yuking took out the ranking list of Wuifangbelan, but didn't say anything. In fact, he also had an identical ranking list in his hand. It's just that he was half a beat slower. Not bad. Chen Ronghuo took the booklet and praised. Tao Yuking was filled with joy, knowing that this time, she had finally found the right direction. Next, Chen Ronghuo did not go to Wuifangbelan immediately, but went to a place called Etiquette Hall in Zhengu sect first. All disciples who wanted to go to Wuifangbelan had to be trained in the Etiquette Hall for 3 days. However, the Etiquette Hall was not actually training in etiquette. Instead, it focused on training disciples. After arriving at Wuifangbelan, when facing disciples from other sects, they must always remember that their tone, expression, movements, etc. when speaking should not be too arrogant or domineering. This rule is not only the rule of Zhengu sect, but also the rule of all sects in the five sects alliance. I got the news that Chen Ronghuo, the core disciple who joined the Holy Tiger sect with me and awakened the Holy Tiger divine body, is receiving training in the Holy Tiger sect's etiquette hall and is expected to go to Wuifangbelan in 3 days. Just when Chen Ronghuo entered the Holy Tiger sect's etiquette hall for training, Ji Hao, who came out of the Holy Tiger secret realm, passed the news out through the sound transmission box as soon as he got it. For him, who has been building connections in the Holy Tiger sect for several months, it is not too difficult to find out Chen Ronghuo's movements when Chen Ronghuo is not hiding. Chen Ronghuo. After spreading the news, a fierce light flashed in his eyes, revealing expectation. He had originally decided to be on good terms with Chen Ronghuo, but since Chen Ronghuo didn't give him face, he had no choice but to use this method to deal with Chen Ronghuo. Hall Master, there is news on the 5th. Not long after Ji Hao's news was reported, it was passed to the top management of Tiangu territory. Holy Tiger Divine Body. In a stronghold of the Tiangu territory, a senior executive of the Tiangu territory wearing black robes stared slightly at the report. He is the deputy leader of the secret hall in Tiangu territory, and it was he who arranged for Ji Hao to join the Holy Tiger sect. However, Ji Hao was not the only one who had secrets in the Holy Tiger sect in the Tiangu territory, so before that, he already knew about Chen Ronghuo's awakening of the Holy Tiger Divine Body. Send someone to pass this news to the person at Xuanhuan and give him a big gift. After a while, the deputy leader of the Dark Hall, who held a high position in the Tiangu territory, made a decision. Yes. The proud man who has awakened the sacred tiger body. In a secret alien space in the Holy Tiger Mountains, a man whose muscles swelled, held up his clothes, and sat in a seat with a swagger. After receiving the news, a trace of a sinister smile suddenly appeared on his face. I wonder how crazy you would be if I killed this proud man of heaven. This person is none other than Wu Long, who betrayed the Holy Tiger sect and founded the Shenhu sect 500 years ago. Not long ago, his disciples killed a core disciple of the Black Tiger Peak of the Holy Tiger sect, which caused the master of the Black Tiger Peak to go crazy and search all the strongholds of the Holy Tiger sect. And now, he has set his sights on Chen Ronghuo. But he didn't feel it. Just when he had this thought, a strange aura suddenly came around his body, vaguely affecting his fate. 3 days later, after Chen Ronghuo completed the training, he held the core disciple token of the Holy Tiger sect and came to the Holy Tiger sect square through the teleportation formation. Then he moved from the main square to the Holy Tiger sect battleship square. Several huge warships are parked here. In addition, there is also a disciple of the Holy Tiger sect and a foreign affairs officer. These people all wore the standard clothing of the Holy Tiger sect. In order to be inconspicuous, this time Chen Ronghuo also wore cyan clothes exclusive to the core disciples of the Holy Tiger sect. There are 2 pieces of the cyan costume, upper and lower, with a golden tiger head tattooed on the arm. The original Chen Ronghuo had gained a calm momentum through experience. But after putting on this outfit, he actually looked somewhat delicate and sharp. The warship heading to Wuifangbalan will take off in 5 minutes. All passengers are asked to board the warship as soon as possible. Not long after Chen Ronghuo arrived here, a standard clear and capable female voice rang out. He took the core disciple token and looked at it, and finally set his sights on a closed Holy Tiger battleship that looked like an airship, and walked towards it. Whoosh! 5 minutes later, a closed Holy Tiger battleship took off from the Holy Tiger sect and flew straight in the direction of Wuifangbalan. The next update is estimated to be around 12 o'clock, I will try my best to update more. Thanks to the boss Fenyusin for the 4,000 coin reward at you are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck, please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Landing 300 years in advance. Author, Chao Ji Dupang. Chapter 317. When Chen Ronghuo entered the warship, there were already 50 or 60 people in the warship. All of them were disciples going to Wuifangbalan. However, most of these disciples were inner and outer disciples, and there were only a few core disciples. The warship had a large space inside, and the seating arrangement was similar to that of a train on Earth. There were 2 rows of seats. Then between the 2 double chairs in each row, a smooth white painted iron table was fixed. When Chen Ronghuo entered the warship, some disciples looked at him with curiosity, especially those inner and outer disciples, who looked at him with envy. Since he awakened the Holy Tiger Divine Body, there were not many people in the Holy Tiger sect who didn't know him. Chen Ronghuo found an empty seat at random and sat down by the window. After looking out the window, he looked around and saw that there were 3 men and 1 woman sitting in another row of seats on his right, 4 outer disciples with cultivation levels of only the second level. He knew that the Holy Tiger sect would hold a sect competition every once in a while. The inner and outer disciples who ranked at the top in the sect competition will be arranged to go to the 5 directions White Forest. When Chen Ronghuo looked at the 4 people who were originally communicating casually all sat straight and stiff. Chen Ronghuo touched his chin. This was not his habitual action. However, seeing the actions of the 4 people on the right, he felt that he was really different now for no reason. Big brother. I am also a little big brother now, right? He thought strangely in his heart. Looking around, he found that after he sat down, not only the 4 people on the right, but also the people in front and behind him, made a lot less noise. Senior Sister Lu, I didn't expect it to be such a coincidence that you are also going to the 5 directions White Forest. At this time, the sound of conversation came from the entrance of the warship. A young man wearing a green core disciple uniform spoke happily. Next to him, a woman who was also wearing a core disciple uniform was walking side by side with him. The woman had a slender figure, white skin, and a waterfall-like straight black hair. Hearing the young man's words, the woman seemed a little impatient and ignored him. But the young man didn't care and continued to chatter. Originally, I thought it would be boring to compete with others every day in Wuifangbelan, but with my senior sister here, I don't have to worry about these. The pursuit revealed in his words was already very clear. But the black-haired woman frowned even more when she heard it. She glanced at the interior of the warship, and after a moment, she suddenly set her eyes on Chen Ronghuo, who was sitting alone by the window. Seeing Chen Ronghuo, her eyes lit up and she immediately walked over with a brisk pace. Her name is Lu Su, and she is a core disciple of Baihu Peak. The young man is Che Kai Upping, a core disciple of Suihu Peak. She has rejected Che Kai Upping's pursuit many times, but whenever Che Kai Upping touches her, he will stick to her like psoriasis, leaving her helpless. In fact, her cultivation has reached the peak of the 4th level, which is 1 level higher than Che Kai Upping, who is only in the late 4th level. However, Che Kai Upping is not only the core disciple of the Blood Tiger Peak, but also the son of the master of the Blood Tiger Peak. Brother Chen, how about it? Do you mind if I sit here? When she arrived in front of Chen Ronghuo, her hair was lightly lifted, revealing a beautiful face, and she said to Chen Ronghuo in a sweet voice. The place she pointed to was exactly the other half of the double seat where Chen Ronghuo was sitting. Sorry, this place is mine. The fat cat lay in Chen Ronghuo's arms, raised his head and looked at Lu Su's face, which was absolutely beautiful in the human aesthetics. He immediately got out of Chen Ronghuo's arms vigilantly and jumped lightly to the seat next to Chen Ronghuo. Having lived in the human world for a long time, it has learned a lot of things. It knows how attractive a woman with a beautiful face is to men. It is very sure that once Chen Ronghuo is fascinated by beauty, its position will definitely be relegated to the back row in the future. Lu Su looked at the fat cat who stopped her, her rosy lips slightly parted, and she was speechless for a moment. You are a cat, and you want to learn to occupy a seat like a human. A big hand grabbed the fat cat by the neck when it was unprepared, and took it back to his arms. It was Chen Ronghuo who made the move. He raised his head, looked at Lu Su and said, "Sorry, my cat is playful, I hope senior sister Lu doesn't mind." It takes several hours to take this warship from the Holy Tiger sect to the 5 directions White Forest. It was lonely on the road, and Chen Ronghuo naturally didn't mind having a beautiful woman by his side. As for Che Kai Upping, who was staring at him like a cockfight at this time, Chen Ronghuo didn't care either. He had used ancient books to identify Che Kai Upping's attributes and knew Che Kai Upping's background, but he had the Holy Tiger divine body, and he learned from Lin Qingtian that he had already caught the eye of the sect's great elder. Among the core disciples of the Holy Tiger sect, there were few with a more profound back than him. If Che Kai Upping really troubles him for this, he can fight back and get some feedback from the breath of the law of robbery. Chen Ronghuo stroked the smooth orange-yellow hair of the fat cat with his hand, thinking calmly. At this time, Lu Su finally recovered from her shock. She smiled awkwardly, but thinking of Che Kai-Upping's entanglement, she decided to sit down first. She also knew Chen Ronghuo's identity, and knew that in this battleship, perhaps only Chen Ronghuo could not be afraid of Che Kai-Upping's identity. "Why are you all standing? Hurry up and sit down." Just when Lu Su was about to sit down next to Chen Ronghuo, a somewhat old voice suddenly sounded from the side, followed by an old man who actually came from the back of the warship, walked to Lu Su's side, and gently pushed Lu Su when she was about to sit down. Lu Su had the cultivation of the 4th level peak, but with the push of the old man, her body immediately shook, and she actually knocked away Che Kai-Upping next to her, then turned a corner and fell on the seat opposite Chen Ronghuo. After pushing Lu Su away, the old man sank his buttocks and sat next to Chen Ronghuo. "You." Lu Su's face immediately showed a trace of anger when the old man pushed her to sit on the seat opposite Chen Ronghuo. But she glanced at the old man and found that she had no impression of him at all. At the same time, she thought of the strange power that came out when the old man pushed her just now, and finally suppressed her anger. She knew that this old man must be a hidden master of the Holy Tiger sect, but she didn't know who it was. Although she was angry at his disrespect for the elderly, she had no other choice. "Why am I so unlucky today?" She turned her head and looked out the window, feeling that she was really unlucky today. Going to Wuifangbalan, she unexpectedly ran into Che Kai-Upping. She wanted to sit next to Chen Ronghuo, but a cat took the seat, and then an old man who seemed to be a senior master messed with her. On the side, after Che Kai-Upping reacted, he looked at the old man sitting next to Chen Ronghuo with fear. But in the end, he still sat down next to Lu Su. The old man sitting next to Chen Ronghuo was wearing a simple white robe, with grey hair and no beard, and a strange smile on his face. Wu Tianchuo, late 7th stage. Identity, Grand Elder of the Holy Tiger Sect. Qualification, 7. Kung Fu, 27th level of the Holy Tiger Crazy Magic Skill. Martial Arts Secrets, Holy Tiger Crazy Magic Body, Golden Tiger Crazy Magic Knife, Holy Tiger Sky Roar. Status, Disguised. After Chen Ronghuo sensed the abnormality of the old man next to him and used the identification technique of the ancient book to identify his attributes, his pupils immediately condensed. It turned out to be him. Chen Ronghuo suppressed his shock. He never thought that the old man sitting next to him was one of the 3 great elders of the Holy Tiger sect. At the same time, through Lin Qingtian's mouth, he also knew that if the person in front of him was counted in terms of seniority, he would still call him master. At this time, Wu Tianchuo smiled at Chen Ronghuo after sitting down. "Little friend, how about it, you don't mind if I sit here with you?" "Of course I don't mind." Chen Ronghuo shook his head. What can he say with such a big man sitting next to him? At this time, the fat cat poked its head out of Chen Ronghuo's arms, glanced at Wu Tianchuo and said, "It's okay, just sit here, I like you." It had a little thought in its mind, knowing that no matter what, Chen Ronghuo would never like this old guy. Wu Tianchuo looked at the fat cat with a strange look on his face. "You little guy is not bad, I like you too." Being praised by Wu Tianchuo, the fat cat's beard immediately curled up, revealing a proud look. At this time, the warship had taken off. However, when the warship took off, there was no shaking inside the warship, and even no inertial force was generated. It was as if the inside of this warship had become a small world of its own. Chen Ronghuo turned his head and looked outside. But what he saw with his naked eyes was only the dark clouds passing by quickly. Because of the pressure from the old man next to him, everyone around him stopped talking. And Wu Tianchuo didn't speak again. It was as if he chose to sit next to Chen Ronghuo just casually. At this time, after being silent for 10 minutes, Che Kai-Upping, who occasionally glanced at Lu Su beside him, still couldn't help but turned his hand and placed several plates of crystal clear fish meat that faintly exuded a hint of coldness on the table in front of him. This senior, junior brother Chen, and senior sister Lu, the journey is long. Here are a few plates of sashimi of northern silver bonefish that I brought. How do you taste it? Che Kai-upping took out these plates of sashimi of northern silver bonefish, and everyone smelled bursts of fresh fragrance along with the rising of a hint of cold air. This fresh fragrance is obviously the natural fresh fragrance of this fish. The four outer disciples on the right seat, after glancing at these plates of sashimi with the corner of their eyes, quickly turned their heads away, not daring to look again, so as not to embarrass themselves. Such top-grade delicacies are extremely tempting even for practitioners. Some low-level practitioners, if their willpower is not firm, may even drool. Northern silver bonefish sashimi, Wu Tianchuo showed a trace of surprise, and then he was not polite. He picked up a piece of chopsticks and put it in his mouth to chew. After a moment, he nodded and said, "It tastes pretty good." "That's for sure," Che Kai-upping boasted. "Northern silver bonefish is the most suitable fish for sashimi. But this kind of fish is extremely rare. Only in the far north can you occasionally catch some." As he spoke, he looked at Lu Su. But Lu Su didn't even look at the sashimi he placed in front of him. This made him helpless. At the same time, he also found that in addition to Lu Su, Chen Ronghuo also didn't move his chopsticks. He looked at Chen Ronghuo and said, "Brother Chen, I heard that you are from the continent of gods, and you should not have eaten northern silver bonefish. Don't you want to taste it?" For him, as long as Chen Ronghuo doesn't snatch Lu Su from him, he is very willing to make friends with Chen Ronghuo. "No need." Chen Ronghuo refused with a smile. "It's just sashimi, what's there to brag about? It's as if there is no delicious food in our God's continent." At this time, the fat cat suddenly curled his lips in disdain. Then it stretched out its claws and waved on the table, and a plate of fish with tempting aroma appeared on the table. In this big plate, there was only a big fish of 30 or 40 centimeters. The big fish was burnt yellow, and it was sprinkled with various colors of seasonings. At first glance, it gave people a very delicious feeling. When this big fish appeared and the fragrance came out, the people around subconsciously turned their heads. Even Wu Tianchuo showed a hint of surprise on his face when he saw the big fish that the fat cat took out. Apart from anything else, just smelling the fragrance of the fish meat, the fish that the fat cat took out can really be said to be 10 streets better than the Northland silver bonefish sashimi that Che Kai-upping took out. Even if the sashimi is fresh, not fragrant. Even compared to all the fish they had eaten before, the fish that fat cat took out was absolutely the best. At this moment, even Lu Su, who had no interest at all, turned his head. Meow. Under the gaze of everyone, Fat Cat took a bite of the big fish. Then it looked at Wu Tianchuo and said, "Old man, I like you. I'll give you half of this fish to try." Immediately, it waved its claws and the whole big fish was broken into 2 pieces. Half of it was swallowed up by it in one gulp. The other half flew up and floated in front of Wu Tianchuo. Chen Ronghuo's face changed slightly. However, Wu Tianchuo saw the half of the big fish with the fish head floating in front of him, but he shook his head and smiled, flipped his hand, and put the big fish back on the plate. Then he took the chopsticks, picked up a bite and put it in his mouth. It is indeed a superb delicacy. After a moment, Wu Tianchuo nodded, then stretched out the chopsticks and picked up the big fish again. "Get ready, the Holy Tiger battleship of the Holy Tiger sect is coming." At the same time, on the way from the Holy Tiger sect to the Wuifangbalan, a group of dozens of people stood on a mountain peak. In front of these dozens of people, stood a burly man wearing black clothes, with muscles exploding all over his body, and his clothes were lifted up. This burly man was Wu Long, the leader of the Divine Tiger sect. After Chen Ronghuo, who possessed the holy tiger body, was about to go to the Wuifangbalan. He came here as soon as possible. Based on his understanding of the Holy Tiger sect, he knew that the Holy Tiger battleship of the Holy Tiger sect going to the Wuifangbalan would definitely pass by here. Holy Tiger body, he stood on the top of the mountain, looking into the distance, thinking of his special physique. His eyes showed a burning color. As long as I swallow the owner of the Holy Tiger body, my strength should be able to go further. Just as he was thinking about this, a black light in the distance quickly broke through the clouds and rushed towards him. Get started. Thanks to Kong's Haimo for the 1000 coin reward. Landing 300 years in advance. Author, Xiaoji Depeng. Chapter 318. The driving of the Holy Tiger battleship is to control the battleship forward with consciousness. The man driving the battleship is a deacon of the Holy Tiger sect, a 5th-level cultivator. He sat upright in the cockpit, connecting his consciousness to a black ball in front of him, not daring to relax at all. Normally, he would not be so serious when driving the Holy Tiger battleship. But this trip to Wuifangbalan was different from the past. He glanced out of the corner of his eye and saw an old man in black clothing sitting on the seat beside him, unsmiling and with a serious face. This man is none other than Yan Xiaobo, one of the 3 great elders of the Holy Tiger sect. He had no idea why, with this person's strength, he had to go to Wuifangbalan and take the battleship he drove. At this time, Yan Xiaobo closed his eyes slightly and said nothing. Whoosh! The Holy Tiger battleship shuttled rapidly through the sky. Coming. Suddenly, Yan Xiaobo's eyes opened, revealing an extremely sharp look. There are hidden spies from other forces in the Holy Tiger section. It is impossible for the top leaders of the Holy Tiger sect not to know about this matter. The only thing they don't know is who is the secret lurking in the Holy Tiger sect. This time, they decided to let Chen Ronghuo go to Wuifangbalan and give Chen Ronghuo 3 times his contribution points. The first purpose was indeed to give him such a reward because of his outstanding talent. The second purpose is to train Chen Ronghuo's actual combat ability. Otherwise, no matter how talented you are, if your actual combat ability is not good enough, sooner or later you will suffer a loss. The third purpose is to use Chen Ronghuo as bait to see if he can catch a big fish. So this time, 2 of the 3 great elders of the Holy Tiger sect came out at once. Boom! Suddenly, when the Holy Tiger battleship was flying at high speed and was about to cross a high mountain, there was a flash of light on the high mountain, and it seemed like an illusory cloth that was originally covering it was lifted open by someone. On the top of the mountain, dozens of people suddenly appeared. Among the dozens of people, the leader was wearing black clothes, with explosive muscles, and looked very powerful. He was Wu Long, the leader of the Shenhu sect. When the Holy Tiger battleship flew far away, a trace of a ferocious smile appeared on his face, and he suddenly raised his hand into a virtual grasp, extending his big hand into the distance, stirring up the wind and clouds, as if turning the endless wind and clouds into his own big hands. Boom! There was a loud noise, and the big hand made of boundless clouds suddenly moved forward and grabbed the Holy Tiger battleship that was flying in the distance, as if to grab it and then force it to the ground. Call out! In the Holy Tiger battleship, the deacon who saw the scene through the Holy Tiger battleship changed his face quickly. But before he could do anything, Yan Xiaobo beside him, after seeing Wu Long appear and attack the battleship, raised his right hand and landed it on the armrest of the seat. Then the Holy Tiger battleship suddenly turned its direction, like a monkey piercing the sky, soaring straight into the sky, avoiding Wu Long's grasp. The next moment, he flashed, opened the door of the battleship, and walked out of the cockpit. Wu Long. After getting out of the battleship, Yan Xiaobo cast his gaze on Wu Long, who was standing on the top of the mountain with exploding muscles, and his eyes were slightly stern. You actually broke through to the 7th level? It seems I can't keep you here today. A powerful aura condensed from his body, like a fierce tiger glaring, pressing towards Wu Long from a distance. When Wulong rebelled, his cultivation level was only at the peak of the 5th level. Only 10 years after rebelling against the sect, he broke through to the 6th level. Wulong's cultivation level continued to improve rapidly after that, and he didn't get stuck until he reached the peak of the 6th level. At the same time, because Wulong was hidden so deeply, he has survived to this day despite repeated pursuits by the Holy Tiger sect. But Yan Xiaobo never expected that this time when they met, Wulong would actually break through to the 7th level. Yan Xiaobo. Seeing Yan Xiaobo walking out of the battleship, Wulong's pupils also shrank. I also didn't expect that Yan Xiaobo would personally lead the team on this trip. But immediately, a hint of ferocity appeared on his face. It seems that you really care about this holy tiger body. I just don't know if you can protect him for one day. Can you protect him for the rest of his life? Yan Xiaobo narrowed his eyes. If that's the case, then I'll take you down today. Boom. After Wulong finished speaking, Yan Xiaobo directly raised his hand, bent his fingers, and formed his claws into the shape of a tiger, as if the tiger's claws were pouncing on the prey, with an astonishing momentum, and he suddenly grabbed it forward. When the claw came out, the claw gleamed through the air, carrying a cold light, stretching for thousands of meters. Even the space trembled slightly, and directly attacked Wulong. Boom! Wulong stepped on the mountain peak. Immediately after the step, the mountain collapsed, boulders rolled, and large amounts of smoke and dust rose up. He took advantage of the reactive force of the mountain's collapse to fly into the air. In an instant, his body transformed into a height of tens of meters, like a giant holding the sky, revealing his bronze muscles. Open! He shouted loudly, pinched out a mysterious seal with his big hand, mobilized his strength, and shook his hands into a fist. Like a tiger roaring into the sky, he ferociously faced the sharp tiger claws that Yan Xiaobo slashed out in the air. Boom! With a loud noise, Wulong's fist and Yan Xiaobo's claws hit each other. A large circle of irregular black screen emerged from the center of the collision between the two. The black screen was like a dark, cold pool of water, with sparkling ripples. Amid the ripples, the black area seemed to be unable to withstand it, and cracks appeared in the crackling sound. After Wulong and Yan Xiaobo's tiger claws clashed, they quickly separated. Call. At this moment, a hurricane suddenly swept across hundreds of miles, and the surrounding air, as well as the stones and other objects on the ground, all rushed towards the center of the collision between the two, the cracks in the circle of black area. Those cracks were space cracks. The two of them only hit once, and the space cracked. After the attack, Wulong's body, which had just expanded to tens of meters tall, suddenly shrank and turned into a 3-meter-long black tiger. Then he moved his body again, and with the recoil force generated by the attack with Yan Xiaobo, he turned into a black lightning and quickly turned away. Where are you going? Yan Xiaobo's eyes burst with murderous intent, and he immediately chased after him after he stopped. Wulong, who had already broken through to the 7th level, if he was allowed to escape, it was unknown how much trouble he would bring to the Holy Tiger sect in the future. Wulong was extremely fast, but Yan Xiaobo's cultivation was the same as Wu Tianchuo. Both of them were in the late 7th level. With 2 small levels higher than Wulong, even though Wulong was talented, he was gradually caught up by Yan Xiaobo. Kill. But at this time, the dozens of people who had stood on the mountain with Wulong before, when Wulong's foot collapsed the mountain, actually united and formed a large formation, with a 5th-level cultivator as the core, all flew up and rushed straight to the distant Holy Tiger warship to kill. With Wulong's 7th-level strength, under normal circumstances, if he wanted to capture a Holy Tiger warship, he would be enough by himself. So he brought these men here just in case, so that they could be used as cannon fodder at the critical moment. But seeing those cultivators chasing after the Holy Tiger warship, Yan Xiaobo ignored them and continued to chase Wulong. It turned out that the old man Yan Xiaobo personally escorted this Holy Tiger warship. But just as Yan Xiaobo chased Wulong, in front of the Holy Tiger warship turned, a figure covered in a black cloak looked at Yan Xiaobo from a distance, and then set his eyes on the Holy Tiger warship flying towards him. This person was Zheng Qin, the deputy leader of the Dark Hall of Tiangu territory, who passed the news of Chen Ronghuo to Wulong. He glanced at Wulong's men, estimated the time it would take them to catch up with the Holy Tiger warship, and shook his head. It seems that I have to do it myself. Then he moved his body, and two solid black bone wings suddenly stretched out from his back. The bone wings vibrated, and he immediately rushed straight to the Holy Tiger warship. When he was still a few thousand meters away from the Holy Tiger warship, he raised his hand from bottom to top, and in an instant, a black soft sword appeared, and a sharp sword light flashed in the sky, slashing towards the Holy Tiger warship. "You stay here, I'll go and see." In the Holy Tiger warship, Wu Tianchuo smiled and stood up as soon as Wulong appeared. His figure flashed and disappeared in front of Chen Ronghuo and others, and came to the exit of the Holy Tiger warship. Fat Cat was shocked to see Wu Tianchuo suddenly disappear. It was the only one who was careless and had not noticed Wu Tianchuo's extraordinariness before. What happened? Who are those people outside? At this time, everyone in the Holy Tiger warship discovered the battle outside. At the same time, they also saw Wulong's men chasing from behind through the transparent windows of the warship. Feeling the terrifying speed of Wulong's men after forming a formation, everyone was awed. Boom! At this time, a loud noise was heard. When the black sword light of Zheng Qin, the deputy head of the Dark Hall of Tiangu territory, was about to hit the Holy Tiger warship, Wu Tianchuo suddenly walked out of the warship, holding an orange sword in his hand, and slashed out with a knife, breaking Zheng Qin's sword light. Wu Tianchuo. Zheng Qin's face changed suddenly under the black cloak. According to his plan, after he passed the news of Chen Ronghuo to Wulong, it would be best if Wulong could succeed. If Wulong failed, he could also attract the masters of the Holy Tiger who escorted Chen Ronghuo away, and then he could still kill them with one blow. But he never expected that in addition to Yan Xiaobo, there was also Wu Tianchuo escorting Chen Ronghuo. Whoosh! After failing to hit him, he did not hesitate to shake the black bone wings behind him and flew away. However, the direction he chose to escape was not the direction he came from, but the direction Wulong escaped. While escaping, Zheng Qin turned his head and mocked Wu Tianchuo with a sharp voice. "Wu Tianchuo, do you dare to catch up? Damn it!" Wu Tianchuo saw Zheng Qin running away and wanted to chase him, but when he saw Wulong's men chasing him from a distance, he finally stopped. Practitioners above the 7th level have countless life-saving trump cards. Even if his cultivation is higher than Zheng Qin, it will not take 3 or 5 times to kill Zheng Qin. If he left here and went to hunt down Zheng Qin, Wulong's men, or the powerful men who might be hiding nearby, then the entire Holy Tiger warship, including Chen Ronghuo, would probably be left here. However, he didn't dare to hunt down Zheng Qin, but that didn't mean he didn't dare to attack Wulong's men who caught up with him. He flashed and landed on the Holy Tiger warship, looking at these people from afar. Roar! Suddenly, he opened his mouth and let out a deafening and fierce roar. Rolling sound waves came out of his mouth. Endless wind and clouds were scattered by the sound waves. Wulong's subordinates, who had united to form a strange formation, felt their eardrums vibrate before they could react to what was going on. At the same time, it seemed as if a terrifying phantom tiger rushed into their soul sea and roared loudly inside. In an instant, a group of people fell from the air one after another like dumplings, including the cultivator with 5th level cultivation. Plop plop. However, after these people landed, they all changed from human form to tigers of different sizes. The Divine Tiger sect never accepts humans. All its disciples are tiger-like demons that Wulong uses special secret techniques to help them transform into human forms. At this time, under the impact of Wu Tianchuo's Holy Tiger roar, These tiger-like demons all showed their original forms. After taking down all these people, Wu Tianchuo waved his hand and took these tiger-like demons in front of him. Whoosh! At this time, a figure flashed and flew back from a distance. This figure was Yan Xiaobo. His face was grim, obviously he had failed to capture or kill Wu Long. In fact, with his strength, if Wu Long was alone, if he was really determined, it would be difficult for Wu Long to escape. But just now, after Zheng Qin escaped from Wu Tianchuo, he immediately joined Wu Long. With the combined strength of the two, it was obviously impossible for him to capture Wu Long again. If he was not careful, he might even capsize in the ditch. After returning, he looked at the dozens of tiger demons captured by Wu Tianchuo, and said in a deep voice, "Wu Long broke through to the 7th level, and I have to pay more attention in the future." I know. Wu Tianchuo nodded. Then he said, "This time, it's a pity. This time, they wanted to catch a big fish. But they didn't expect that Wu Long actually broke through to the 7th level, and Zheng Qin from the Tiangu territory also got involved, making them empty-handed. Just thinking of this, they were also scared. This time, if the two of them hadn't come together, I'm afraid all the disciples of the Holy Tiger sect on the entire Holy Tiger warship, including Chen Ronghuo, who was told by the Holy Tiger to protect him, would have died here. It seems that the battle is over." In the Holy Tiger warship, Chen Ronghuo sat quietly by the window and tilted his head to look outside. Just now, even if he knew that Wu Tianchuo was here, he was still ready to take out the two-world map and leave here at any time. Fortunately, he didn't make it to that step in the end. Wu Long, Zheng Qin, Shenhu Gate, Tiangu territory. He muttered in his heart and memorized these names. Judging from the ancient book, he was very sure that these people were here to kill him. However, being used as bait like this is not without benefits. Chen Ronghuo narrowed his eyes and could feel that after Wu Long, Zheng Qin and others failed to assassinate, countless breaths of the law of calamity were immediately fed back to him between heaven and earth. The amount of breath of the law of calamity he got this time exceeded any time he had ever gotten before. If he wanted, he could use the energy of the laws of calamity to immediately break through to the late 4th level. Landing 300 years in advance. Author, Xiaoji Depeng. Chapter 319. It's just that Wu Tianchuo and Yan Xiaobo are outside now. Chen Ronghuo has only joined the Holy Tiger sect for a few months, and he has broken through 2 realms in succession. This is not a good thing. So he thought about it, and finally sealed the breath of the law of calamity he got this time in the ancient book. Prepare to wait until Wu Fangbelan, and then use it slowly. It's a pity that Wu Long and Zheng Qin escaped. Thinking of this, Chen Ronghuo shook his head again. If Wu Long and Zheng Qin, the 2 7th-level strongmen who targeted him, were left behind, he didn't know how much feedback of the breath of the law of calamity he would get this time. But his cultivation was too weak, and his ability to restrain the 7th-level strongmen was obviously not strong enough. These tiger-like demons are the elites of the Divine Tiger section. I have sealed them all. When we reach the 5 directions White Forest, we will put them deep in the 5 directions White Forest as a whetstone and reward for our disciples of the Holy Tiger section. Outside the warship, Yan Xiaobo took out a strange rope and tied up a group of disciples of the Divine Tiger sect who had transformed into tigers, and sealed them all at the same time. The 5th-level tiger-like demon who led the group was sealed several times by him. When he wakes up, he will only be able to exert the strength of a 4th-level peak practitioner. Tiger-like demons are very popular in the Holy Tiger sect. After killing them, their blood can be used to refine pills to assist in practicing the Holy Tiger crazy magic skill, and their bones, fur, etc. can be used to refine secret treasures. It can be said that they are all treasures. Among the dozens of tiger-like demons that followed Wu Long, except for the 5th-level one, there are more than 20 3rd-level demons and more than 10 4th-level demons. So many tiger monsters are nothing to them, but they are rare treasures for their disciples. Yan Xiaobo and Wu Tianchuo followed the holy tiger warship while communicating and flew to the 5 directions White Forest. This time, neither of them entered the warship again. The one just now was the Great Elder. At this time, Wu Tianchuo had already removed his disguise. In the Holy Tiger warship, Lu Su and some other disciples who had seen Wu Tianchuo saw Wu Tianchuo's true appearance through the transparent window of the warship, and all showed astonishment. Great Elder? The old man I just said I liked was the Great Elder of the Holy Tiger sect? Fat Cat half of his head emerged from Chen Ronghuo's arms, and his eyes fell on Wu Tianchuo through the window, shook his beard, and quickly retracted his head into Chen Ronghuo's arms. Whoosh! Next, under the protection of Wu Tianchuo and Yan Xiaobo, the Holy Tiger warship had a smooth journey. Finally, after more than 2 hours, we arrived at the public place of the 5 Sects Alliance, the 5 Directions White Forest. The 5 Directions White Forest is located in a huge Tiankang. From the sky, the Tiankang is funnel-shaped, high around and low in the middle, with large trees with white bark growing inside. According to Chen Ronghuo, the vitality of these large trees is very tenacious and also very strong. Even a 4th-level peak cultivator would have to spend some effort to break and knock them down. In the 5 directions around the 5 Directions White Forest, there are undulating buildings. These buildings are the residences of the disciples of the 5 sects here. After arriving here, while still in the warship, Chen Ronghuo and other disciples have already seen that in the 5 Directions White Forest and above the 5 Directions White Forest, there are cultivators fighting fiercely with each other. Brother Chen, I asked my subordinates to invite you and some friends to get together in the Holy Tiger sect, but you didn't reply. How about this time when you come to the 5 Directions White Forest, do you want to come with me and communicate with some of my friends here? At this time, Lu Su, who was sitting opposite Chen Ronghuo, suddenly spoke to him. Invite me in the Holy Tiger sect? Chen Ronghuo was stunned when he heard this. After thinking about it, he remembered that Tao Yuking had mentioned several core disciples before, and when she invited him to a small gathering, she seemed to have mentioned Lu Su's name. Maybe there will be a chance in the future. I'm a little tired after traveling for such a long time. Chen Ronghuo made excuses to reject Lu Su without sincerity. For him, wasting time to join the small circle of these core disciples is almost useless. With that time, he might as well practice more and strive to reach the 5th level as soon as possible. Tired of traveling? Lu Su was speechless when he heard Chen Ronghuo's excuse. In the Holy Tiger sect, Chen Ronghuo was the first core disciple to reject her with such an excuse. But she was not dissatisfied with this. Everyone has their own aspirations. Che Kai Upping, who was standing by, saw Chen Ronghuo reject Lu Su's invitation, and his eyes towards Chen Ronghuo suddenly became much better. He smiled and said to Chen Ronghuo, Brother Chen, when you have time in the future, how about we get together? Okay. Chen Ronghuo agreed casually. After Wu Tianchuo left, they chatted with each other for a while, so Chen Ronghuo seemed very casual when he spoke. At this time, the Holy Tiger warship stopped over the Holy Tiger Sects station and then landed. Chen Ronghuo and others saw this and stood up one after another. After a while, the hatch opened, and the disciples of the Holy Tiger sect in the warship, after the previous changes, did not completely let go of their hearts until this time. One by one, with curiosity and expectation, they walked out of the warship. After the Holy Tiger warship landed, several stewards immediately came out from the Holy Tiger station of Wuifangbilan and rushed to greet the warship. One of the stewards was guarding the entrance of the warship. Whenever a disciple walked out of the warship, he would give that disciple a strange object the size of a black brick. Wuifangbilan ID card, made with a special method, it records some of the rules of Wuifangbilan after recognizing the master, It can instantly display the ranking of the disciples of the 5 sects of Wuifangbilan. You can also use this card to challenge disciples of various sections. After Chen Ronghuo walked out of the warship, he took over this strange card, which was about the size of a brick, with great interest. Then he followed the instructions of the deacon, took out his core disciple token of the Holy Tiger sect, and swiped it on the front. Squeak. A light sound. The smooth front of the Wuifangbilan ID card lit up, and then it showed a series of messages like the screen of a mobile phone. Chen Ronghuo, a core disciple of the Holy Tiger sect. Wuifangbilan rank 603rd. Accommodation arrangement, room 24. Interesting. Chen Ronghuo glanced over, and for a moment he had the illusion of returning to the technological age. Look, Gao Wen of the Qinglai sect is going to challenge Wang Yuanjiu. Gao Wen has only been in Wuifangbilan for 10 days, and he has risen from the last place in the 4th stage middle stage to the 1st place. Now he is going to challenge Wang Yuanjiu, who is ranked 10th from the bottom among the 4th stage late stage practitioners. This is really against the will of heaven. As soon as Chen Ronghuo and others walked out of the warship and landed on the ground, they heard the disciples nearby talking about it. The group landed on a huge platform with a higher terrain. After landing, Chen Ronghuo raised his head and looked in the direction of the disciples who were talking about it. I suddenly saw that above the Wuifangbilan in the distance, a young man wearing the uniform of the core disciple of the Qinglai sect was standing in the void, confronting a young man wearing the uniform of the Jtao sect, who was a little fat. Hey, there are new disciples here. I wonder if there are any powerful characters coming from our Shengu sect this time. At this time, the disciples in the distance finally discovered Chen Ronghuo and others. Some people looked at them with a look of exploration. That's senior sister Lu Su, the core disciple of Baihu Peak. I've seen her. It's said that she has broken through to the peak of the 4th level for 4 or 5 years. I didn't expect that she would come this time. There are also Che Kai Upping from Suihu Peak, Gu Dun from Daihu Peak, and Yu Yuhan from Huohu Peak. It seems that some good characters have come this time. Suddenly, someone pointed at Chen Ronghuo and showed a surprised look. Hey, who is that person wearing the core disciple uniform? Why haven't I seen him before? Since I haven't seen him before, then I guess this person is most likely. A disciple glanced at Chen Ronghuo and asserted, Chen Ronghuo, the new core disciple of Baihu Peak who has the Holy Tiger body, who has been rumored for some time, is here. It's him. Someone shook his head. He has joined our Holy Tiger sect for less than half a year. How come he came here? Strong cultivation talent does not mean strong actual combat. The environment of Wuifangbilan is a bit special. These disciples discussed from a distance and did not deliberately avoid Chen Ronghuo and others. Even some of the disciples with lower cultivation were open and aboveboard when discussing. Chen Ronghuo glanced at the disciples, then walked aside, took the identity card of Wuifangbilan, and clicked on it. After a moment, he clicked on the profile of Wuifangbilan from it. Wuifangbilan has been opened 12,312 times, and each cycle is 2 years. After a cycle ends, the ranking of Wuifangbilan will be fixed. At that time, the 5 sects will allocate some of the public resources of the 5 sects according to the ranking of Wuifangbilan. All disciples of the 5 sects can only enter Wuifangbilan once in 10 years. Disciples who enter Wuifangbilan will be ranked according to their cultivation level before sparring with others. Chen Ronghuo's eyes flashed. Before coming here, he actually knew this information, but in order to avoid mistakes, he still read it again. The 5 white forests have been open for a year, so I have to stay here for another year. Also, I am now ranked 603rd in the 5 white forests list. Chen Ronghuo thought of his ranking and knew that he had this ranking because he was a 4th level midterm practitioner. As a 4th level midterm practitioner, once he entered here, he would be ranked behind the last 4th level midterm practitioner who was previously ranked on the 5 white forests list. Then he looked at the rules for the 5 sect's disciples to spar with each other and memorized them. I can only make a name for myself so that Huanlin, Zhu Daipen, Li Haishui and others know that I am here. Chen Ronghuo raised his head and looked at Gao Wen of the Qinglai sect and Wang Yuanjiu of the Jtao sect who were fighting fiercely in the distance. While watching the two fighting, he measured how strong his fighting power would be if he did not use the law of disaster. Junior Sister Lu, you are here. Junior Sister Lu. Just then, 3 figures wearing the green uniforms of the core disciples of the Holy Tiger sect suddenly flew from a distance and landed beside Lu Su. These 3 people, 2 men and 1 woman, have the same cultivation as Lu Su, and are all 4th level peak practitioners. Senior Brother Yang, Senior Brother Fang, Junior Sister Li. Seeing the 3 people, Lu Su hurriedly greeted them one by one. Che Kai upping beside him, and several core disciples who were on the same ship with them, also greeted the newcomers. As core disciples of the Holy Tiger sect, they naturally had a lot of topics to talk about. Let's go, everyone just arrived today, I'll be your guest, let's get together. After a while, Yang Ting from Tianhu Peak smiled and invited the group. Haha, let's go, Senior Brother Yang is treating you, I won't be polite. Several core disciples laughed. At this time, the tall Yang Ting cast his gaze on Chen Ronghuo, who was hiding in a corner without saying a word, and said with a smile, Junior Brother Chen, although I have been in the Wuifangbelan this year, I have long heard that it's your name. How about I treat you to a treat? You won't give me face, right? Well. Chen Ronghuo was slightly startled. Lu Su invited him before, but he didn't agree. But Yang Ting invited him in front of so many people. If he didn't agree, it would be unreasonable and he would look too out of place. Only. There was a wry smile on Chen Ronghuo's face, and he looked at Yang Ting and said, there may be a chance in the future. I just made an appointment with someone. Have you made an appointment with someone? Yang Ting showed a surprised look, and then he seemed to have thought of something. He lowered his head and his eyes fell on the Wuifangbelan identity card in Chen Ronghuo's hand. He said with a strange expression, Junior Brother Chen, are you here just now, have you invited people to compete with each other? I just want to try. Chen Ronghuo nodded and put away the Wuifangbelan identity tag. He really wanted to try. I want to see if I can make my reputation known to Huanglin and others if I fight 30 times in a row on my first day in Wuifangbelan and become the number 1 mid-level 4th level cultivator in Wuifangbelan. Others didn't know what Chen Ronghuo was thinking. But when they heard that he had just arrived here and had already used the Wuifangbelan identity card to make an appointment with someone to discuss, they all looked at him in surprise. To several core disciples, after Chen Ronghuo joined the Holy Tiger sect, he did nothing but retreat every day, which made him appear very mysterious. This time Chen Ronghuo came to Wuifangbelan, which was already beyond their expectations. Now that he had just arrived and was about to compete with others, he surprised them again. Isn't this person not only a cultivator, but also a martial arts fanatic who is keen on fighting? Several core disciples looked at each other and looked at Chen Ronghuo in a strange way. Call out. At this time, a figure suddenly flew out from another direction of Wuifangbelan and flew over Wuifangbelan. After this person appeared, he immediately set his sights in the direction of the Holy Tiger sect. Disciples of the Golden Body sect should be informed that Chen Ronghuo of the Holy Tiger sect is invited to fight. Chen Ronghuo heard the sound and said to Yang Ting and others, Senior Brother Yang, and everyone, I'm going to fight Yang Chuan. I'm afraid it will take a while to end. If you want to have a dinner, go ahead. After he finished speaking, he turned his head, glanced at Yang Chuan, then moved his body and flew out from the Holy Tiger sect station. Sorry for keeping Brother Yang waiting. It should be said that it ranks 593rd in the Wuifangbelan rankings. After Chen Ronghuo flew out, a core disciple took out his identity tag, checked it and said, It seems that our junior brother Chen is very confident in his own strength. Wufangbeilan's challenge can only be challenged by a maximum of 10 people on the ranking list. Only after winning the challenge can you continue the challenge. If the challenge fails, no challenge will be possible within the next 10 days. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Landing 300 years in advance. Author, Xiaoji Depeng. Chapter 320. Holy Tiger Mountains. When Chen Ronghuo arrived at Wufangbeilan, Ji Hao was training in the Holy Tiger Mountains. That day, after he spread the news that Chen Ronghuo was going to Wufangbeilan, he accidentally got a treasure map from a disciple. This treasure map is 1,000 years old. It records the location of a genius treasure that was discovered by a senior of the Holy Tiger sect 1,000 years ago. However, the senior died unexpectedly before the genius treasure was born. At the beginning, Ji Hao had a smooth journey and came directly to the treasure place. But after arriving at the treasure place, he found that it would take a few days for this genius treasure to be born, so he waited here. But he didn't know that since he started to plot against Chen Ronghuo a few days ago, a layer of the breath of the law of calamity has been shrouded around his body. And as time passed, this breath of the law of calamity became more and more intense. If a strong person uses a special secret technique to observe, he will find that the breath of the law of calamity surrounding Ji Hao's body is black and red, and it seems to be dripping blood. Especially after Wu Long and Zheng Qin failed to assassinate Chen Ronghuo, the breath of the law of calamity surrounding Ji Hao's body reached its limit. This is the backlash of the law. If Ji Hao succeeded in calculating Chen Ronghuo, the breath of the law of calamity surrounding his body would not become like this. But he failed to calculate Chen Ronghuo, so he had to bear the terrifying backlash from Chen Ronghuo. In fact, the breath of the law of calamity surrounding Wu Long and Zheng Qin was no less than Ji Hao. It's just that the two of them have too high a cultivation level and can resist the backlash. But Ji Hao, who is only at the peak of the 4th level. It's done. Suddenly, Ji Hao, who was standing deep in a closed cave, felt the surrounding spiritual energy rapidly increase, all rushing to the depths of the cave, a small tree with a yellow-orange spiritual fruit, and his eyes immediately lit up. Sir, this is it. But before Ji Hao could pick the ripening top-grade spiritual fruit, a respectful voice suddenly sounded from outside, accompanied by footsteps. Who is it? Ji Hao frowned. But before he could make any preparations, the people outside raised a surprised voice, well, someone got here before us. Ji Hao was shocked. He had already suppressed his breath, but the newcomer could still find him. His strength was obviously much stronger than his. Swish, swish, swish. Then, before he could react, 3 burly figures wearing special costumes rushed in from the cave entrance and appeared in front of him. People from the Divine Tiger Gate. Seeing the clothes worn by the 3 people, Ji Hao's hair stood up immediately. Now he is a disciple of the Holy Tiger Gate, and the Holy Tiger Gate is the mortal enemy of the Divine Tiger Gate. Hey, it turns out to be a kid from the Holy Tiger sect, and a core disciple. The leader of the 3 disciples of the Holy Tiger sect had his eyes brightened immediately after seeing Ji Hao. The 2 men beside him were even more excited and said, Sir, our Holy Tiger sect has just suffered heavy losses, and the sect master is also furious because of the failure to capture and kill Chen Ronghuo of the Holy Tiger sect. If we can capture a core disciple of the Holy Tiger sect, the sect master will be happy and will definitely reward us generously. You're right. The leader, who was burly, with yellow hair and a mouthful of sharp white teeth, glanced at Ji Hao, especially at his bare white skin, and looked at him a few more times strangely. His eyes seemed to be staring into Ji Hao's flesh. However, it's a bit of a waste to give such a fair-skinned and beautiful young man to the sect master and let him eat him. The big man licked his lips with his tongue, and his eyes showed a red light full of desire. Yes, before sending him to the sect master, it's not a bad idea for you to enjoy him first. The two subordinates of the big man knew the big man's special hobby, and they all laughed and quickly left the cave. Ah! Not long after, a shrill and miserable howl came from the cave. The big man who turned from a tiger demon into a human had a cultivation level as high as the late 5th level, which was far beyond Ji Hao's ability to resist. Chen Ronghuo from the Holy Tiger Sect. Is it your disciple from the Holy Tiger Sect who is said to have condensed the Holy Tiger Seal and awakened the Holy Tiger Divine Body? He is here too. Wu Fangbelan called out Chen Ronghuo's name in front of Ying Chuan, a disciple of the Golden Body section. Chen Ronghuo flew out of the Holy Tiger Sect and landed in front of Ying Chuan. Most of the disciples watching the battle in the various sects turned their eyes and looked at Chen Ronghuo from a distance with curiosity. Brother Ying, please. Chen Ronghuo stood 100 meters away from Ying Chuan and smiled as he made a gesture of invitation to Ying Chuan. Ying Chuan looked stern. These days, he had also heard of Chen Ronghuo's name and knew that Chen Ronghuo had awakened the Holy Tiger Divine Body, so even though he heard that Chen Ronghuo had just broken through to the middle stage of the 4th level and had just come to the 5 Directions White Forest, he did not dare to be careless. Tick, tick, tick. The sound of water drops falling to the ground sounded in the ears of Chen Ronghuo and Ying Chuan at the same time. The entire 5 Directions White Forest, whether in the White Forest below or above the White Forest, was covered by a large formation. The disciples who agreed to come here to exchange skills must wait until the 5 sounds of dripping water sounded in their ears before they can start. Boom! Intense golden light was released from Ying Chuan's body, like a small sun. Covered in golden light, his skin, hair, and even his clothes turned golden in an instant. Do you think Ying Chuan can be Chen Ronghuo's opponent? Someone watching the battle asked. It's difficult. A disciple shook his head. Most of the disciples of the Golden Body sect practice the law of immortality and the law of power, and have strong bodies. However, the Holy Tiger bloodline law practiced by the disciples of the Holy Tiger sect is not weak in terms of physical strength. Chen Ronghuo's cultivation level is the same as Ying Chuan's, but he has awakened the Holy Tiger Divine Body, and combined with the Holy Tiger Mad Demon Kung, the two complement each other, and it would be difficult for Ying Chuan to defeat him. That's right, another disciple nodded and said, furthermore, I think this Chen Ronghuo is actually following the path of multi-law cultivation. Although the cultivation speed of the multi-law cultivation path is much slower than that of the single-law cultivation path, in combat, he is the best among the practitioners of the same level. Disciples from various sects who were paying attention to this battle were talking about it. However, most disciples, after analysis, felt that Chen Ronghuo had a higher winning rate. And they also know that Chen Ronghuo dares to challenge Ying Chuan because he is probably confident in himself. I think this battle depends on how long Ying Chuan can last. Some disciples showed interest and communicated with the people around them. Tick-tock. At this time, the 5th sound of dripping water finally reached the ears of Chen Ronghuo and Ying Chuan. Brother Chen, be careful. As the water dripped, Ying Chuan suddenly let out a loud shout. Rolling sound waves came from his mouth, mixed with soul pressure, and crushed towards Chen Ronghuo. This move is a sonic attack similar to the roar of the Holy Tiger of the Holy Tiger sect. By surprise, many people were defeated by Ying Chuan's move because they were unprepared. Therefore, Ying Chuan's loud shout was not so much a reminder to Chen Ronghuo as a slap in the face to Chen Ronghuo. Just under the impact of the sound waves and the pressure of the soul, the blue clothes Chen Ronghuo wore squeaked, but he himself was like a rock in the waves that remained unmoved despite the wind and rain. Boom! It should be said that a figure emitting blazing golden light followed closely behind the rolling sound waves. Before the sound wave dispersed, he had already broken through the sound wave, and appeared in front of Chen Ronghuo with strong pressure. One hand reached out, like a claw to capture a dragon, and fiercely grabbed Chen Ronghuo's shoulder. Powerful diamond claws. The people watching the battle all had stern eyes. I want to see how Chen Ronghuo responds to Ying Chuan's move. This move that Ying Chuan passed on can be regarded as a very powerful move of the golden body section when practiced to a high level. It has the ability to capture a dragon and fight a tiger. With one claw, nothing can escape, and the tyranny is boundless. Seeing Ying Chuan's claws grabbing at him, Chen Ronghuo was slightly shaken, and golden light emitted from his body, just like Ying Chuan's. Then he bent his left arm and was on the rack instantly. When Ying Chuan was about to catch him, he held Ying Chuan's arm and pushed Ying Chuan's arm down in the opposite direction. For practitioners, reaction speed is extremely important. Among practitioners at the same level, Chen Ronghuo's reaction speed can definitely surpass the others, because the reaction speed is related to the essence of the soul, and the essence of the soul is related to a person's talent, aptitude, and the skills and secrets he practices. Chen Ronghuo is definitely the best among practitioners at the same level in terms of his natural talents and the secret techniques he has practiced. Therefore, the attack speed is very fast, but for Chen Ronghuo, he can see through it at a glance and make the best reaction. The people watching the battle in the distance were all excited when they saw that Chen Ronghuo had suppressed Ying Chuan's arm all at once. Next thing you know, the climax is coming. At this moment, the moment the bodies of Chen Ronghuo and Ying Chuan collided, the air around their bodies was squeezed out. Holy Tiger Divine Body. When Ying Chuan's arm was pressed down by Chen Ronghuo, his pupils shrank suddenly. He felt the terrifying power transmitted from Chen Ronghuo's hand, and knew that he was superior in strength and was definitely no match for Chen Ronghuo. He stepped on the void with his toes, making a snapping sound, as if he had stepped on something substantial. With the help of his body, he immediately retreated, preparing to find other ways to fight Chen Ronghuo again. Boom! But as soon as Ying Chuan retreated, Chen Ronghuo's pupils turned golden, conveying a terrifying and murderous intent. The slightly golden body, in an instant, rushed towards Ying Chuan like a tiger pouncing on its prey. At the same time, he also raised his right hand, opening his palm, shaking and bending, like a fierce tiger's claws striking out. Open! Seeing Chen Ronghuo approaching instantly, Ying Chuan, shocked by Chen Ronghuo's strength, let out a low roar, and the already blazing golden light all over his body suddenly spread in a circle like a golden ocean. This golden light is like the indelible light of Buddha. Boom! Just when the golden light spread, Chen Ronghuo's right hand had already struck it. There was a loud noise, and on Chen Ronghuo's right hand, golden energy surged wildly, with a hint of red at the same time. It was the Holy Tiger crazy demonic skill that was operating to the extreme. At the same moment, billowing flames actually rose from Chen Ronghuo's right hand. The flames are blazing and the color is authentic red. However, the terrifying temperature emanating from it, combined with the powerful force carried by Chen Ronghuo's palm and the erosion of the powerful true qi refined by the Holy Tiger crazy demonic skill, the seemingly indelible golden light on Ying Chuan's chest actually sank like golden paper with a puff. And wisps of gray smoke emerged from the sunken part. Bang! The next moment, Chen Ronghuo's right hand actually broke through all the defenses on Ying Chuan's chest and landed heavily on his chest. Boom! Ying Chuan's body shook, like a thrown scarecrow, and flew far away. He flew backwards for hundreds of meters before he stopped with the help of a soft force that suddenly emerged from behind him. At this time, the disciple uniform of the Golden Body School he was wearing on his chest had been broken, revealing the bloody wound inside. Under Chen Ronghuo's blow, the blood law and the power of the fire law remaining on it were preventing his wound from healing. However, Chen Ronghuo could sense that just when his attack was about to cause more damage to Ying Chuan, a strange force suddenly emerged around him and stopped his attack. In other words, Ying Chuan looked bloody, but his injuries were not serious. 5-Direction Illusion Array, 8th Level Array. It is hosted by the puppet made by the 8th Level Cultivator Xuanhuan Master, who is worshipped by the 5-Sex Alliance. It can effectively prevent the disciples of the 5-Sex Alliance from getting too seriously injured during the competition, and it also has many functions. Chen Ronghuo glanced around. Although he could not see it, he was able to identify the formation that covered the entire 5-direction White Forest through the identification technique of the ancient book. At the same time, it is precisely because of the existence of this formation that all the disciples of the 5-Sex Alliance can fight freely in the Wuifang White Forest without worrying about getting too seriously injured. However, once the 5-Direction Illusion Array takes effect, it means the end of the battle. Chen Ronghuo wins. When this strange force prevented Chen Ronghuo's power from further damaging Ying Chuan's body, a voice that only the two could hear rang from their ears. "Thank you." Chen Ronghuo's eyes fell on Ying Chuan from afar, and he bowed slightly, neither humble nor arrogant. "Brother Chen is much stronger than me," Ying is willing to admit defeat. Ying Chuan nodded slightly, then turned and left. This is the peculiar mechanism of Wuifang Belan. Whether before or after the competition, whether the winner or the loser, they must maintain a certain degree of courtesy. So strong, just one move, Ying Chuan was defeated by Chen Ronghuo. The Holy Tiger Divine Body is indeed worthy of its reputation. It seems that although Chen Ronghuo has just broken through to the middle stage of the 4th level, his strength is probably ranked above the middle among the middle stage practitioners of the 4th level of Wuifang Belan. After the battle, all the disciples of the 5-Sex started to discuss it. "It seems that our junior brother Chen is really strong." At the same time, core disciples of the Holy Tiger sect, such as Yang Ting, Lu Su, Che Kai Upping, etc., all nodded slightly. They said before that they wanted to get together, but since Chen Ronghuo had gone on the field to compete with others, they naturally would not leave now. As the most popular disciple of the Holy Tiger sect in recent times, no one did not want to know how strong Chen Ronghuo was, and they were the same. Just when everyone was talking about it, Chen Ronghuo, who was standing above the 5 Directions White Forest, had taken out his 5 Directions White Forest identity card again and pressed it on it again. "What do you mean, he wants to continue sparring with others?" It seems that he probably did. He just sparred with Ying Chuan, and he didn't consume much energy. Fighting one after another is nothing for him. But I don't know who he will challenge next. This bastard, just when others were talking about it, Lu Su, who had invited Chen Ronghuo on the Holy Tiger warship but was rejected by Chen Ronghuo on the pretext of being too tired, gritted her teeth after seeing Chen Ronghuo's actions. If Chen Ronghuo had thought of an excuse when he rejected her, it would have been fine, but Chen Ronghuo used the most insincere excuse, and he had been fighting with others after just getting off the warship, which really made it difficult for her not to be angry. Whoosh! At this time, a figure suddenly flew out from the Jtao Sex residence in the distance and landed in front of Chen Ronghuo, turning into a young man wearing a grey disciple's uniform and with a cold face. The cold young man said calmly, "Zhang Xing of the Jtao sect, nice to meet you, brother Chen." "It's Zhang Xing, this is interesting." "It's really interesting." Although Zhang Xing is not ranked high among the 4th level midterm disciples of Wuifang Belan, his Tianjia 3 consecutive slashes is definitely a very strong explosive skill. He attacked without warning. Many people who were much stronger than him before, without knowing it in advance, suffered a great loss at his hands. Another chapter will be later. Landing 300 years in advance. Author, Xiaoji Depeng. Chapter 321. Chen Ronghuo's eyes met Zhang Xing's, and he saw that Zhang Xing's eyes were unusually calm, just like a pool of still water, without any waves. It seemed that he was not going to fight with him next, but was just going to enjoy a leisurely afternoon. "It's about to start." However, after seeing Zhang Xing's appearance, the spectators laughed secretly, knowing that Zhang Xing had started to pretend again. Zhang Xing was different from other practitioners. He would not attack unless he made a move, but would kill once he did. Once someone could withstand his first 3 swords, his combat effectiveness would drop significantly. So when dealing with practitioners who didn't know his background, he would make a plain expression, instead of raising his momentum before the battle like most practitioners did, and engaging in a momentum confrontation with the opponent. Chen Ronghuo set his eyes on Zhang Xing, and did not use the ancient book identification technique on him. This time, in addition to becoming famous in one battle and attracting Huanglin, Zhu Daipen, and others, he also planned to use the special place of Wuifangbilan to hone his actual combat ability. At the same time, after Zhang Xing appeared, the spectators showed an interested look and talked a lot, but the part involving Zhang Xing's ability was blocked by the Wuifang Huanzhen formation. As a result, Chen Ronghuo didn't know Zhang Xing's background. He looked at Zhang Xing's expression and guessed secretly, is he confident in his own strength, or is he planning something? Tick-tock. At this moment, the 5th sound of water drops falling to the ground sounded in the ears of Chen Ronghuo and Zhang Xing at the same time. Boom. The moment the sound of water drops just sounded, Zhang Xing's momentum rose from the ground like a 1,000-foot-high wall, and an upside-down illusory knife condensed in the sky above his head. The sharp knife momentum, with the aura of killing everything, pointed directly at Chen Ronghuo's eyebrows. At the same time, Chen Ronghuo could also see a hint of dark and terrifying sword intent through Zhang Xing's eyes. The Jtao sect uses swords to kill everything and cut off all life. There are 2 sword techniques in the Jtao sect. One is the Tianjia sword, and the other is the Daijia sword. These 2 sword techniques are the foundation of the Jtao sect and the secret martial arts of the Jtao sect. Especially the core disciples of the Jtao sect, they usually practice both sword techniques. Zhang Xing is not a core disciple of the Jtao sect, and he only practices the Tianjia sword technique, but he has practiced this sword technique to a very high level. Tianjia 3 consecutive slashes. After raising his momentum to the limit in an instant, Zhang Xing suddenly shouted. Some practitioners like to shout their moves when they are making moves, especially when they are making ultimate moves, to create pressure on their opponents, and Zhang Xing is the same. A huge sound wave burst out and spread out in a fan shape. As the sound spread, Zhang Xing moved his hand, and the thick-backed knife that was originally inserted in his back was instantly pulled out by him, emitting a brilliant white knife light. However, the blade of this brilliant white knife light was filled with a sense of extinction. It seemed to be able to freeze and kill all the heaven and earth, all things. Swish. The knife fell, and the knife light extended, pointing directly at Chen Ronghuo's eyebrows. But just when Chen Ronghuo's attack on Zhang Xing was over, he saw that when Zhang Xing just slashed out with the knife, his right hand holding the knife was retracted at a faster speed than before, and then slashed out the second knife at an even faster speed. The second knife slashed forward and caught up with the first knife in the blink of an eye. But Zhang Xing's attack was still not over. At this time, he actually retracted the knife and swung it again, and then slashed the third knife at Chen Ronghuo. Buzz. The speed of Zhang Xing's third knife was even faster, and it seemed to exceed the limit of vision. Even in the eyes of some 4th-level practitioners, Zhang Xing's knife had left an after-image. The vision of practitioners is much stronger than that of ordinary people, let alone 4th-level practitioners. However, Zhang Xing's third knife left an after-image in the eyes of some 4th-level practitioners, which shows how fast his knife was. Boom. As the speed of the knife light from Zhang Xing's third knife soared, it was connected with the knife light from the first 2 knives. This terrifying knife light formed by the 3 extinction intentions immediately reached its limit, completely extincting the air blocking in front, and brought a terrifying dark light like a dark cloud to Chen Ronghuo. 3 knives merged into one. 3 knives merged into one. At this moment, some practitioners who knew Zhang Xing shrank their pupils when they saw this scene. Although Zhang Xing's previous 3 consecutive slashes were very powerful, he could not combine the 3 swords into one, and could only shorten the attack interval of the 3 swords to the blink of an eye. But now, Zhang Xing can actually combine the 3 swords into one. After combining the 3 swords into one, it is definitely 2 completely different concepts from before combining the 3 swords into one. It can be said that with only these 3 swords, Zhang Xing's strength can already be ranked in the upper middle level among the 4th level mid-stage practitioners. When the practitioners watching the battle showed shock, Zhang Xing's eyes with murderous intent also showed a hint of excitement. His talent is far inferior to Chen Ronghuo. If he encounters a great adventure, it won't take long for his cultivation to be surpassed by Chen Ronghuo. But this time, if he can defeat Chen Ronghuo without any resistance, it will be a great achievement in his life. His eyes extended along the blade and fell on the extinction sword energy that was attacking Chen Ronghuo directly. Since he practiced this move, he has never shown it in front of people. But he was confident about this move. If Chen Ronghuo had been prepared beforehand, he would still be worried. But judging from Chen Ronghuo's reaction, Chen Ronghuo had no preparation at all before this. When the sharp knife light attacked Chen Ronghuo's forehead, Chen Ronghuo's forehead was stimulated and immediately bulged a small golden rice-sized bag. This was an instinctive reaction of his body without deliberate control. It was a response to the stimulus. Not a bad knife skill. He commented in his heart, and then when the knife was about to cut himself, the immortal demon energy in the lower dantian in his body, the holy tiger crazy demon true energy in the middle dantian, and the flame in the soul sea of the upper dantian all exploded. Boom! The golden and red holy tiger crazy chi rushed out from Chen Ronghuo's middle dantian, flowed along a specific route, and appeared in his hand. When his palm was flexed and stretched into a tiger shape, it was attached to it, and frantically and desperately grabbed the fierce extinction sword energy that was slashing at him. At the same time, the immortal demon energy that exploded from his lower dantian quickly circulated in his body and condensed into a mysterious mark. As soon as this mysterious mark appeared, it began to quickly absorb and burn his spirit. This made his attack more powerful. This move of his was the strongest secret technique that cooperated with his immortal demon scripture and his immortal demon body, the disintegration of the demon. Ka. Chen Ronghuo's tiger-shaped claws moved forward all the way, burning with blazing flames, and collided with the terrifying sword energy that Zhang Xing slashed at him. The two were only deadlocked for a moment, and his tiger claws crushed Zhang Xing's sword energy with a crackle, leaving nothing behind. The top physique, top skills, and top secret techniques make Chen Ronghuo's strength far beyond his peers. Moreover, this is the result of Chen Ronghuo not trying his best because he is worried that his performance will be too outstanding and attract the attention and suspicion of those high-level practitioners. One strike broke Zhang Xing's 3 consecutive slashes. In the distance, the spectators saw the scene and opened their mouths slightly. So strong, Chen Ronghuo's strength seems to be more than just above average, but can already be ranked among the top group of Wuifangbilan's 4th level mid-stage practitioners. It's really strong. I'm afraid I can't break Zhang Xing's attack head-on. Some of the strong ones among the 4th level mid-stage practitioners looked very solemn. Judging from the current situation, Chen Ronghuo might find them to fight in a few days. At the same time, more than 100 meters in front of Chen Ronghuo, Zhang Xing saw that his attack was destroyed by Chen Ronghuo in the blink of an eye. His eyes shrank, his body swayed slightly, and he was about to use his body skills to retreat. But Chen Ronghuo stepped in the void, and his body, with the residual power after the attack just now, instantly crossed the distance of 100 meters and appeared in front of him like a golden red streamer. The tiger-shaped claws pulled out a residual image of the red flame and grabbed his chest fiercely. Boom! In an instant, Zhang Xing retreated hundreds of meters as he had responded before. Chen Ronghuo wins. A voice sounded in the ears of the two. Thank you. Chen Ronghuo bowed slightly. Zhang Xing on the other side, after stabilizing his body, also bowed and retreated. After Zhang Xing left, Chen Ronghuo did not listen to the discussion of the spectators, but took out the Wuifang Balan identity card and pointed at it again. Come again, is Chen Ronghuo challenging his own limit? It's possible, but I don't know what Chen Ronghuo's ultimate limit is. Seeing this scene, many people's interest was raised again. Yang Chuan ranked 593rd in the Wuifang Balan ranking list, and Zhang Xing ranked 583rd. Chen Ronghuo challenged every 10 people, and it seemed that he wanted to challenge the limit of continuous fighting. There were people like Chen Ronghuo who challenged the cultivators in the ranking list as soon as they arrived in Wuifang Balan. Of course, such cultivators are usually like Chen Ronghuo, with outstanding talents and full confidence in themselves, so they will do so. At this time, there were still some second and third level cultivators fighting in the White Forest below Wuifang Balan, but most of the people watching the battle around had already set their sights on Chen Ronghuo. Everyone wanted to see how far Chen Ronghuo could challenge and where his limit was. Su Dudu from the Jinshan sect, meet Brother Chen. At this time, a slightly fat figure flew out from the Jinshan sect's base and landed in front of Chen Ronghuo. Su Dudu, number 573 on the 5 Directions White Forest ranking, as expected. This time there will be a good show to watch. Although Chen Ronghuo is powerful, he will definitely consume a lot of energy if he continues to fight like this. I wonder who will defeat him in the end. That's right, he can now take down an opponent with one strike, but after he fights a few more games, it will probably be difficult for him to be as relaxed as he is now. After Su Dudu appeared, everyone immediately confirmed their thoughts just now. Chen Ronghuo really wanted to challenge his limits on the first day he came here. Brother Chen, please. After the sound of water drops rang out 5 times, Su Dudu from the Jinshan sect smiled, like Maitreya Buddha, pinched a golden seal with both hands, and made a defensive move. Sorry. Chen Ronghuo moved his body and stepped forward quickly. He still used the moves he had used to deal with Zhang Xing before. He stretched out his palms and burned flames. At the same time, he used the secret technique of disintegrating the demons to burn his spirit and spirit, increasing his attack power. Boom! With a loud noise, Duo, who was originally confident in his defense, flew backwards immediately. With just one blow, Chen Ronghuo ended the battle again. Then came the 4th, 5th, 6th, 10th, 15th, 19th. One by one, the practitioners were defeated by Chen Ronghuo. At the same time, Chen Ronghuo's ranking on the 5 Directions White Forest list also soared rapidly like a rocket. From the beginning of the battle to now, no one could withstand a single move from him. With his top physique and powerful skills, Chen Ronghuo's attack power was far superior to that of ordinary practitioners of the same level. In addition, he had no weaknesses in other aspects, so that in every battle, he could break all methods with one force and kill with one blow. At this moment, even some of the 4th stage late stage practitioners on the leaderboard showed a solemn look. Chen Ronghuo, too strong. What exactly does he want to do? Isn't he trying to become the first 4th stage mid-stage practitioner at once? Some people's hearts moved slightly, as if they saw Chen Ronghuo's ambition from his seemingly calm eyes. The 20th game. A woman in a black dress appeared in front of Chen Ronghuo. As soon as she appeared, she waved her hand and waved out endless black air. The endless black air instantly spread throughout the surrounding thousands of meters of void. After the black air appeared, she moved her body and disappeared into the black air. It's Zhou from the Demon Shadow section. Chen Ronghuo is challenging her this time. Zhou is not only strong, but also has mastered the Demon Shadow sky covering technique, which is extremely difficult to master in the Demon Shadow sect. With this secret technique, Zhou can hide in the heavy Demon Shadow black fog. This Demon Shadow black fog can effectively prevent the soul power from detecting, so usually, Even if she can't beat her opponent, it is difficult for the opponent to catch her trace. I just don't know if she can stop Chen Ronghuo from continuing to challenge. Among the people watching the battle, there is a know-it-all. After Zhou Ling appeared, he immediately told Zhou Ling's message. Tick. Chen Ronghuo stood in the void and saw Zhou Ling disappear into the black air. There was no abnormality in his expression, as if he didn't care at all. Only when the sound of water drops in his ears reached the 5th time, he moved his body and rushed into the black air domineeringly. He had no fear of the black air. He was not afraid of Zhou Ling hiding in the black air to attack him. Boom! The raging flames came out from under his feet, sweeping in all directions. He did not use the natural disaster flames, but only used pure red flames. But this was enough. The blazing red flames intertwined with the black air in the sky, making a fierce death sound. In the fierce sound, Chen Ronghuo exerted his 5 senses to the extreme. Suddenly, his heart moved, and he turned his head to look in a slightly strange direction. As he looked over, there was peace in that direction, as if nothing existed. Boom! But Chen Ronghuo was extremely confident in his 5 senses. He stepped on the ground and instantly crossed a distance of hundreds of meters. With a tiger claw, he fiercely grabbed the dark void in front of him, as if nothing existed. Even if Zhou Ling had the cultivation of the middle stage of the 4th level, she was still a lot worse than Huang Lin, who had only the peak cultivation of the 3rd level at the beginning. Stop, I give up. Zhou Ling, who was hidden in the black fog, let out a sharp cry, and it felt like he was about to cry out of fear. Chen Ronghuo had fought for the 19th time before this. I don't know if it was because of Chen Ronghuo's luck. The cultivators who fought with him in the previous 19 games were all men, not a single woman. And every time Chen Ronghuo fought, it was like he was addicted, and he would tear the clothes on his opponent's chest every time. Landing 300 years in advance. Author, Xiaoji Depeng. Chapter 322. Chen Ronghuo's body, carrying golden light, broke through many obstacles. The golden light trembled, transmitting layers of shock waves, and actually swept away the surrounding black fog a little. Especially his right hand with tiger claws, with several feet-long sharp claws, blasted through the thick black fog of demon shadows that tried to cover Zhou Ling's body, and then stopped in front of Zhou Ling's eyebrows with an upside-down posture. Chen Ronghuo still has this character of grabbing a woman instead of grabbing her breasts. Junior sister Zhou, thank you. Chen Ronghuo retracted his tiger claws and stood quietly in the void, revealing a gentle smile of kindness. Thank you, senior brother Chen, for showing mercy. Endless black fog flowed back into Zhou Ling's body like a tide. Zhou Ling, dressed in black, saluted Chen Ronghuo, and flew away in a hurry with some loss of composure. It seems that even the magic shadow sky covering technique cannot stop Chen Ronghuo's footsteps. Indeed, Chen Ronghuo is too strong, and the most important thing is that he has almost no weaknesses. Moreover, from the beginning to now, he has won almost all battles with one blow. Everyone was amazed when they saw Zhou Ling also defeated by Chen Ronghuo. And those cultivators who ranked higher than Zhou Ling had more solemn expressions at this time. They knew that it would probably not be long before Chen Ronghuo would start to challenge them. 413th. Seeing Zhou Ling leave, Chen Ronghuo shook his head. He took out the Wuifang Belan identity card, looked at his ranking on it, and then pressed it again. At this time, he had fought 20 games in a row. Whoosh! A moment later, a sturdy young man wearing a green disciple's uniform, but with a purple lightning snake tattooed on the side of his arm instead of a holy tiger pattern, appeared in front of Chen Ronghuo. It's Feng. Feng ranks 403rd in Wuifang Belan. He has a special physique, the Thunder Spirit body, and is a core disciple of the Qinglai section. I wonder if he can hold off Chen Ronghuo for a while longer. The know-it-all told Xuanhuan's information again. There are many special physiques in this world. Cultivators with special physiques are not only faster than other practitioners in cultivation, but also have great advantages in battle. But there are also high and low levels of special physiques. Xuanhuan's Thunder Spirit Body is a special physique of relatively low quality. Xuanhuan of the Qinglai sect, I'm here to meet Brother Chen. I hope Brother Chen can show mercy later. Xuanhuan is 2 meters and 5 or 6 meters tall, only slightly inferior to Ho San. When he stood there, he gave people a heavy pressure, but he spoke in a muffled voice, but he showed a bit of honesty. Chen Ronghuo stood opposite Xuanhuan and smiled. Show mercy? This is a must. He had not given his all in every battle since the beginning of the battle. The strength he showed in every battle was within a certain limit. In other words, he showed mercy to everyone. Tick-tock. The sound of water drops continued, and soon it reached the 5th time. Brother Chen, be careful. When the sound of water drops fell, Xuanhuan shouted immediately. But when he shouted, he did not attack Chen Ronghuo, but stepped in the void and retreated violently. While retreating violently, he slowly raised his hands in the direction of Chen Ronghuo. As his 2 arms were raised, endless green thunder balls suddenly flowed out from his body. These green thunder balls of different sizes, like meteors shining with green light, gathered together in the void, pulling out a long green river, like an eternal green river hanging from the starry sky. One end of the green river is connected to Xuanhuan. One of them turned into a ferocious thunder beast head, with infinite murderous intent, and rushed straight towards Chen Ronghuo, as if to swallow Chen Ronghuo in one gulp. 4th-level practitioners are actually not weak, especially some powerful 4th-level practitioners. It is normal for them to cross thousands of meters with one blow. Boom! Seeing the blue thunder river rushing towards him, Chen Ronghuo, like before, raised his hand without any hesitation, exploded the true qi filled in his dantian, and punched forward with golden light. His punch immediately smashed the head of the thunder beast that took shape at the front of the thunder blue river. Then his body continued to move forward, like a golden star swimming upstream, and rushed directly into the vast blue river. Boom 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 boom. He punched continuously, and each punch could explode a large area of blue thunder river. As he punched one punch after another, the distance between him and Hammer Iron Peak was getting closer and closer. In the distance, Chui Taifeng was retreating rapidly, his expression becoming more and more solemn. Before the battle with Chen Ronghuo, he had already made a plan. His plan was to fight Chen Ronghuo in the way of flying a kite. But he still underestimated Chen Ronghuo. He didn't expect Chen Ronghuo to be able to maintain such a fast speed in his Qinglai River. The 7th punch, the 8th punch, the 9th punch. Chen Ronghuo punched one punch after another. Every time he punched, his body would cross a long distance in the void. After he punched the 9th punch, the distance between him and Chui Taifeng was only 30 meters away. The 10th punch. Chen Rong silently counted the number of punches he threw and controlled his strength to a certain extent. Chui Taifeng's strength was stronger than any opponent he had met before. The fighting method he chose was also relatively the most restraining to him. Therefore, he rewarded Chui Taifeng with a full 10 punches in this battle. Roar! After the 10th punch, the golden light surged out of Chen Ronghuo's fist and suddenly turned into a golden holy tiger. It broke away from his fist and violently smashed the last section of the Qinglai River in front of Chui Taifeng, and hit Chui Taifeng hard. Boom! In an instant, Chui Taifeng retreated in a series of blows under Chen Rong's punch. He retreated hundreds of meters in one breath. Chen Ronghuo stood in the void, watching Chui Taifeng retreating, and did not continue to chase. Only after the voice announcing his victory sounded in his ears did he bow slightly to Chui Taifeng. Chui Taifeng also bowed to Chen Ronghuo and turned away. At the same time, with Chui Taifeng's departure, it also meant that Chen Ronghuo had won 21 games in a row. When Chui Taifeng's back disappeared, Chen Ronghuo took out his Wuifang Balan identity card again, pressed it on it, and launched a new round of challenges. 10 punches, Chen Ronghuo took 10 punches to defeat Zhou Diafeng. But the eyes of the spectators, especially those who felt that Chen Ronghuo would most likely challenge them next, were all brightened. In this battle, although Chen Ronghuo also won the victory in a crushing manner, it was different from the previous battles where he was almost killed in 1 second. In the previous battles, Chen Ronghuo was like a big devil, and people would feel despair at a glance. But this time, everyone seemed to have seen his limit. We still have hope. I don't believe that Chen Ronghuo can still maintain the peak of his internal qi after fighting for so long. Although he almost killed in 1 second every time before, he almost tried his best every time he attacked. He definitely consumed a lot of qi when he attacked like this. Yes. I guess the reason why he ended the battle at the fastest speed every time before was to save the internal qi, but now he has fought so many battles, it is absolutely impossible for him to be like before. The eyes of the practitioners flashed. However, the 22nd, 25th, 28th. Then there were 7 or 8 consecutive battles. The opponents that Chen Ronghuo fought against became stronger and stronger, but Chen Ronghuo defeated them all in the same way. Among them, his opponent in the 28th battle was a core disciple of the Jtao sect, named Guoqi Thao. This disciple practiced both the heavenly absolute sword and the earthly absolute sword, and held a sword in each of his left and right hands. During the battle, he could simultaneously launch the heavenly sword 3/ and the earthly sword 4/, and in an instant, he could combine the 7 swords into one. Chen Ronghuo fought with this disciple and threw more than 30 punches before he defeated him. Too domineering, even Guoqi Thao is not his opponent. Everyone felt a toothache when they saw Chen Ronghuo punch Guoqi Thao's chest heavily after throwing more than 30 punches. Chen Ronghuo's fighting method was extremely simple, which was to crush his opponent with strong reaction ability, terrifying strength, and speed. But with this single fighting style, no one could stop him. Even Guoqi Thao, the strongest opponent in the fight with Chen Ronghuo, only blocked more than 30 of his punches. Could it be that the first person in the 4th stage midterm cultivator is really going to be taken away by him this time? Everyone showed reluctance. No one wants to be suppressed by a newcomer. In fact, in Wuifang Balan, it is not that no one has ever come here and suppressed all the cultivators of the same level, but this situation is too rare. And like Chen Ronghuo, who has fought so many battles on the first day of coming here, there is no history. After all, not everyone can have such a long-lasting fighting power like Chen Ronghuo. Chen Ronghuo cultivators have multiple laws, and the strength in his body is far beyond the reach of other cultivators. In addition, his immortal demon body is like a bug. It is like a perpetual motion machine, which can continuously generate power. According to Chen Ronghuo's challenge rules, the next one should be Ma Jingyuan from the Golden Body section. Ma Jingyuan ranks 313th on the 5 White Forests ranking list of practitioners. I wonder how long he can last under Chen Ronghuo. Everyone was talking. At this time, Ma Jingyuan, who they were talking about, had already flashed and landed in front of Chen Ronghuo. Ma Jingyuan was not tall, and except for his bald head, he looked ordinary. Before and after landing on Chen Ronghuo, he just smiled at Chen Ronghuo, squinted his eyes, and waited for the sound of water drops without saying a word. After fighting so many games in a row, Chen Ronghuo felt extremely troubled by saying the same thing to his opponent every time, so he just smiled at Ma Jingyuan. The speed of water drops falling in each battle was different. This time, the sound of water drops falling was particularly fast. Chen Ronghuo just smiled on his face, and the sound of 5 drops of water drops had already sounded. Boom! Ma Jingyuan, who had been standing quietly in the distance, immediately burst into golden light after the sound of water drops stopped, like a golden car equipped with 100 motors. He blasted the void under his feet with a bang and appeared directly in front of Chen Ronghuo. All the disciples of the Golden Body sect fought directly and head-on. Ma Jingyuan was no exception. In the blink of an eye, he rushed to Chen Ronghuo, and the dazzling golden light enveloped him, making him look like an indestructible Buddha. He raised his arm and fell directly towards Chen Ronghuo. The golden arm carried the power to suppress everything. If he hit a medium-sized mountain with this blow, even the mountain could be razed to the ground by his blow. Boom! Facing Ma Jingyuan's terrifying blow, Chen Ronghuo did not dodge or evade, but directly confronted it, raised his fists one after another, and after punching him and knocking his arm away, he followed with the second punch. Boom 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 boom. The two fought fiercely, and even the void was shaken by the aftermath of the battle between the two. Layers of terrifying ripples radiated in all directions. One punch, two punches, three punches. An opponent like Ma Jingyuan is undoubtedly Chen Ronghuo's favorite opponent. At the same time, this kind of fist-to-flesh collision can also make him truly feel that he has become very powerful after coming to this world. 30 punches, 35 punches, 40 punches. At the end of the battle, Chen Ronghuo was even reluctant to stop, and wanted to continue to hit Ma Jingyuan a few more times. But even though Ma Jingyuan had comprehended the mysteries of the immortal law and the law of power, and his body was equally strong, he could not bear it after being hit so many times by him. The golden light protecting Ma Jingyuan's body had dimmed a lot. It was like a piece of gold paper that had been rubbed countless times, and the gold color faded. Boom! Finally, Chen Ronghuo's 40th punch hit Ma Jingyuan's chest hard, making a roar. Ma Jingyuan retreated. He became another defeated general of Chen Ronghuo. Ma Jingyuan lost. The voice sounded in Chen Ronghuo's ears, and Chen Ronghuo nodded slightly to Ma Jingyuan, who was covering his chest. After Ma Jingyuan left, he took out his identity card again. At this time, there were only 10 4th-level mid-stage practitioners standing in front of them on the Wuifangbalan cultivation list. These 10 people are the 10 strongest 4th-level practitioners in the 5 Directions White Forest. However, after Chen Ronghuo's eyes swept over the names of these 10 people one by one, they directly passed over the others and fell on the name of the person ranked first among the 10. This person was Gao Wen, who successfully defeated Wang Yuanjiu, a 4th-level late-stage practitioner of the Absolute Sword sect when he just came here. In fact, Chen Ronghuo's ranking on the 5 Directions White Forest ranking list at this time not only suppressed a large number of 4th-level mid-stage practitioners, but also suppressed some 4th-level late-stage practitioners. Gao Wen meets brother Chen. After Chen Ronghuo selected Gao Wen, who had been prepared, immediately appeared in front of Chen Ronghuo. I know I am not brother Chen's opponent, but I still want to try my best. In addition, if possible, I hope to see brother Chen's strongest move. Gao Wen has an upright figure and wears the core disciple uniform of the Qinglai sect. After seeing Chen Ronghuo fight 29 consecutive fierce battles but never showing his limit, he already knew that he was not Chen Ronghuo's opponent. But he was also a favored child of heaven in the Qinglai sect, and he would never allow himself not to try at all. In the distance, the practitioners watching the battle were stunned when they heard Gao Wen's words, especially those who had held a glimmer of hope for Gao Wen before. No one expected that Gao Wen had already admitted that he was not as good as Chen Ronghuo before the battle began. After all, in their eyes, Gao Wen was different from others. Gao Wen came to Wuifangbalan only 10 days earlier than Chen Ronghuo. After coming here, although Gao Wen was not as crazy as Chen Ronghuo, he would fight several battles every day. Then in just 10 days, he successfully won the throne of the first person in the 4th-level intermediate stage. As you can see, when Gao Wen finished speaking, it was exactly when the ticking sound all fell. Chen Ronghuo, who was standing casually in the void, heard Gao Wen's words, and his strength suddenly surged wildly in his body. Endless flames surged out of his body, forming a long river of flames, rushing straight towards Gao Wen. Gao Wen's eyes flashed. This was the first time that Chen Ronghuo had controlled fire to attack since the battle. He waved his arm, and countless green thunders came out of his body, entangled and condensed, forming green thunder snakes. Countless thunder snakes rushed towards Chen Ronghuo with their fangs and claws. The flames and green thunder collided with each other, and there were explosions in the void. Although Chen Ronghuo did not use the natural disaster magic flame, he had practiced several top-notch fire secrets in the past few years. When he used it at this time, the long river of fire he sent out was controlled by him exquisitely. Countless runes flashed in the long river of fire, causing the long river of fire to emerge with a head of fire beasts, colliding and fighting with Gao Wen's green thunder snakes, and they were not inferior at all. At this moment, both Gao Wen and other practitioners were desperate. Before this, Chen Ronghuo's use of the power of fire was very simple, which made everyone think that Chen Ronghuo only mastered the power of fire, but in fact, his use of the power of fire was not up to standard. But until now, they realized that it was not that Chen Ronghuo's use of the power of fire was not up to par, but that no one among them had pushed Chen Ronghuo to his limit. Even when they saw Chen Ronghuo's ease, they were all speculating in their hearts, wondering if Chen Ronghuo had not reached his limit yet. Genius. A true genius. In the past, many of them were called geniuses. But at this moment, they realized that compared with Chen Ronghuo, they were just ordinary people. Boom. Suddenly, when Gao Wen controlled countless green thunders and collided with Chen Ronghuo's long river of fire, the long river of fire sent out by Chen Ronghuo suddenly shrank into a small ball. It returned to Chen Ronghuo's body and turned into a set of flame armor, wrapping Chen Ronghuo up. Then Chen Ronghuo put on the flame armor, and his whole body was shining brightly, as if he had received some strange stimulation. His body swelled several points, and with a bang, he crossed the space and appeared directly in front of Gao Wen. One punch, Gao Wen exploded back. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Landing 300 years in advance. Author, Xiaoji Depeng. Chapter 323. Gao Wen also lost. One of the spectators said calmly. Gao Wen's defeat was actually expected by most practitioners. But no one expected that Chen Ronghuo would still perform with ease in the battle with Gao Wen. It was as if after 30 consecutive battles, Chen Ronghuo was still not forced to use his full strength by them. This feeling made them all angry. I wonder if he will continue to challenge. After Gao Wen was defeated by Chen Ronghuo and exited the venue, all the practitioners looked at Chen Ronghuo. Everyone is looking forward to Chen Ronghuo continuing to challenge. Those who challenged those late 4th level cultivators ranked before him wanted to see where Chen Ronghuo's limit was. Everyone is curious, and at this time, Chen Ronghuo has successfully aroused their curiosity. I really didn't expect that our junior brother is so powerful. At the same time, in the Holy Tiger Sex Camp, Yang Ting, Lu Suchekyu and other core disciples looked at Chen Ronghuo with amazement. Too strong. Among everyone, especially Che Kai Upping, the son of the Peak Master of Blood Tiger Peak, felt the most obvious. His cultivation level is only at the late 4th level. At the same time, because he was the Wuifangbelan who arrived today, once he arrived, his ranking on the Wuifangbelan list was behind the last late 4th level cultivator. And Chen Ronghuo, after defeating Gao Wen, directly replaced Gao Wen's ranking. That is, 303 people. This ranking is dozens of places higher than his ranking. He refused. But no matter how unwilling he was, he had to swallow all his unwillingness after seeing the strength that Chen Ronghuo had shown when he fought 30 games in a row. His cultivation level is higher than that of Chen Ronghuo, but in terms of strength, he may not really be Chen Ronghuo's opponent. Che Kai Upping cast his eyes on Chen Ronghuo from a distance. I wonder if he will continue to challenge. Fighting 30 games in a row and becoming the first mid-level 4th level practitioner of Belan in Wuifang is enough. At this moment, Chen Ronghuo narrowed his eyes slightly after waiting for Gao Wen to go down. After repeated battles, the true energy in his body boiled, and even the power of his soul seemed to be on fire. This feeling of knocking down his opponents one after another with one punch, and the feeling of continuous victory made his whole body. They all became a little enthusiastic. If the situation didn't allow it, he really wanted to continue challenging until he truly tested his limits. But he finally calmed down. The strength he had exposed at this time was enough. If he shows more powerful strength, I am afraid it will attract the special attention of some powerful people. Whoosh! With this thought in mind, Chen Ronghuo turned into a stream of cyan light and returned to the Holy Tiger Sect's station. This time, your Holy Tiger Sect has acquired a true talent. With such talent, let alone our northern region, even if it were placed in the central Shenyang Tiancheng, no one might be able to surpass him. It is estimated that only among the top 10 realms, there will be peerless geniuses who can rival him. At an extremely high place in the Wuifang White Forest, in an area where no one could see, there stood several figures all wearing black robes. Wu Tianchuo and Yan Xiaotian are among them. When Chen Ronghuo fought 30 times in a row and won the title of the first mid-level 4th level practitioner of Belan in Wuifang, a tall and thin man sighed slowly. Wu Tianchuo and Yan Xiaotian were both somewhat proud when they heard this. This tall and thin man is the great elder of the Qinglai section. He is a figure of the same era as them, but his strength is a bit stronger than the two of them. They all knew how arrogant this tall, thin man was. Chen Ronghuo was able to get his praise, obviously because of the strength he just showed, which shocked him. However, although geniuses like Chen Ronghuo are extremely rare, they have not never appeared. For the top 10 powerful territories, there will be several such peerless geniuses in every generation, so they all think that Chen Ronghuo is the kind of person who is really talented and not hiding a huge secret. Moreover, even if there are any secrets, based on Chen Ronghuo's performance, it is estimated that most of his secrets have been transformed into his own heritage. Junior brother Chen, congratulations, this time you have become famous in one battle. Senior brother Chen, congratulations. After Chen Ronghuo returned, figures immediately surrounded him from all directions and congratulated him. Chen Ronghuo stole the show as soon as he arrived, which will definitely make some people jealous. However, they and Chen Ronghuo were both disciples of the Holy Tiger section. The sense of belonging to the sect also made many people feel excited because Chen Ronghuo fought continuously and suppressed the disciples of the other 4 sects. At the same time, Chen Ronghuo is the core disciple of the sect, both in talent and strength. If they can have a relationship with Chen Ronghuo, they may become prosperous in the future. However, with so many people surrounding them, Chen Ronghuo knew the purpose of most of them with just one glance. He couldn't say anything, so he could only nod his head with a smile on his face. At this time, Yang Ting, who had invited him together before, came forward with a smile on his face and said, "Junior brother Chen, how are you? Now that your challenge is over, I will invite you to a restaurant to get together again. You are not going to use it? I'm too tired, can you use it as an excuse to reject me?" Chen Ronghuo was startled and turned to look at Lu Su, who was not far away, only to see Lu Su looking at him with a half smile. Sure enough, women hold grudges the most. Chen Ronghuo smiled bitterly and shook his head. Of course, senior brother Yang has already said so, how dare I refuse? Moreover, if I make this excuse again, I'm afraid senior sister Lu will kill me in public later. Ha ha. Lu Su rolled his eyes at Chen Ronghuo angrily, and everyone else laughed. After Chen Ronghuo's little joke, people who were not particularly familiar with him at first became somewhat closer to each other. At the same time, as Yang Ting and others began to speak, the disciples who had just gathered around and wanted to get closer to Chen Ronghuo did not dare to speak anymore. Soon, Chen Ronghuo followed Yang Ting and his party to a restaurant where the Holy Tiger sect was stationed. "Junior brother Chen, I heard that you were still a lord when you were in the continent of the gods. I wonder how big the territory you manage is." Li Man, the only core female disciple among the crowd, asked curiously. "With Chen Ronghuo's talent, he will definitely be a man of the hour no matter where he goes. Coupled with the miracle he created in this battle, everyone at the party spontaneously focused on him and looked for topics." Chen Ronghuo smiled and replied, "I am just a lord in a small and remote place in the continent of the gods, but I have a lot of people in my territory. The total number of people in my territory can be several million." "So big?" Everyone was a little surprised. Millions of people are completely incomparable to the power controlled by the Holy Tiger sect, but Chen Ronghuo, before joining the Holy Tiger sect, was only an early stage 4th level cultivator. Sure enough, gold will shine wherever it is. Hearing this, Li Man looked at Chen Ronghuo with even more intense eyes. In such a world where the strong are respected, few women would not be tempted by a proud man like Chen Ronghuo. "It's a pity." Yang Ting shook his head. "It would be great if, junior brother Chen, your territory was in the Demon Sealing Land, within the territory of our Holy Tiger section. A territory with millions of people is definitely a huge wealth for 4th level cultivators like them. With such a territory, if it is managed well, it will definitely make their cultivation progress rapidly." "It is indeed a pity." Chen Ronghuo took a sip of wine alone and said pity words in his mouth, but his expression was extremely calm. "But I am used to storing the power of faith in my noble mark. Before accidentally arriving at the demon-sealed land, my noble mark contained a lot of power of faith. With the power of these beliefs, at least before the 4th level, there is no need to worry about my cultivation. The power of faith exists in the noble mark." When everyone heard this, they all looked at Chen Ronghuo in astonishment. Li Man subconsciously asked, "Junior brother Chen, you joined the sect and your cultivation has reached the mid-4th level in such a short period of time. Is it because of the power of faith you brought?" Chen Ronghuo nodded, "Of course, otherwise even if I had the Holy Tiger divine body, I wouldn't be able to practice so fast. When he came to Wufang Balan on the Holy Tiger battleship not long ago, he got a lot of the law of tribulation from Wu Long and Zheng Qin, as well as the disciples of the Divine Tiger sect who caught his attention. Using the breath of these laws of calamity, he can quickly cultivate to the late 4th level. It's just that his cultivation level has improved too quickly, so he has to find a justifiable excuse. But this time, he released the news that he still had a lot of power of faith in his hands, just to pave the way for his next breakthrough in cultivation. Not even just this time. After this news spreads, as long as nothing unexpected happens, he will no longer have to worry about his cultivation progressing too fast before reaching the 5th level. Cultivation with the power of faith is indeed a shortcut." At this moment, Lu Su suddenly glanced at Chen Ronghuo and said with a strange smile, "But for us disciples of the Holy Tiger sect, if we want to speed up our cultivation, use the Holy Tiger Golden Elixir is also a good choice. As far as I know, the disciples of the Shenhu sect who came to kill junior brother Chen were all sealed after being captured by the Great Elder and others. They were prepared to wait a few days before throwing them into the depths of the 5 directions White Forest and give them to them. We use it for testing. As we all know, the Holy Tiger Golden Pill requires the blood essence of tiger demons. If we can hunt down 1 or 2 level 4 tiger monsters by then, it will be enough for us for a while. It is even said that there is a 5th level tiger demon that will be sealed and thrown in together. Seal the disciples of Xuanhuan and throw them into the 5 directions White Forest for us to use for testing?" Chen Ronghuo and other disciples' eyes lit up slightly when they heard this. Meow. Apart from them, Fat Mao, who was lying bored in Chen Ronghuo's arms, his cloudy eyes suddenly lit up after hearing Lu Su's words. Thanks to Kaijin for the 100 coin reward, and Little ZZG Killing God for the 100 coin reward landing 300 years in advance. Author, Chao Ji Dopang. Chapter 324. Meow. The fat cat took his chubby little head out of Chen Ronghuo's arms and looked at him. I want to eat the tiger. Shamao sent out a strong thought, which was transmitted to Chen Ronghuo's mind. Okay, I understand. I will catch a tiger for you to eat in a few days. While joking with the people next to him, Chen Ronghuo agreed to the fat cat and pushed its head back. I want to eat that 5th level tiger. But Shamao shook his head, stretched out his hand again, looked at Chen Ronghuo, and expressed an even stronger intention. Okay, I will try my best to catch that 5th level tiger for you then. Chen Ronghuo put his hand on the fat cat's head again, trying to push its head back. At this time, he was communicating with his fellow disciples. The trouble caused by Fat Mao really made him seem a little incompetent in teaching the cat. However, the fat cat turned his head and avoided it. It's not that you try your best, but you must catch it. I want to eat it. I want to break through to the 5th level. I want to return to the continent of the gods. I want to go to the great continent, pretend to be cool in front of crabs. Okay, you guy, why don't I promise you that? Chen Ronghuo had no choice but to promise again. Shamao has always regarded himself as the boss of all his pets, but now that his cultivation has been surpassed by the big river crab, he has long been extremely anxious. This time he has this opportunity, which obviously makes him red-eyed. But after hearing Chen Ronghuo's assurance, Shamao still refused to give up and said, let's do go. Let's do go now. Only if you do go with me will I believe you. Pushing the envelope, right? Chen Ronghuo raised his eyebrows. How could he do such a shameful thing with Shamao in public? He reached out and picked up an empty wine glass next to him, and slowly poured a small layer of wine into it. While pouring the wine, he dipped the fingers of his left hand into the wine, adding a lot of drunken attributes into it. The wine they drank this time was Zwixian brewing, which was so strong that a mortal would be unable to get up for 3 days and 3 nights after just one sip. Even a 4th level cultivator like him will get drunk if he drinks too much. Chen Ronghuo never liked drinking too much, so before Yang Ting and others persuaded him to drink, he had figured out all the drunkenness properties of the drunken immortal brew before drinking. After doing this, Chen Ronghuo brought the wine glass to the fat cat's mouth, glanced at it, and said with his mind, here, drink this, and I will have sex with you after you drink it. Real. The fat cat's eyes lit up and he opened his mouth. Suddenly, a whirlwind formed from the wine glass. It rolled up a shallow layer of the clear drunken fairy brew that moved his hands and feet and sent it into its mouth. It seems pretty good. After finishing the wine, Fat Cat clapped his mouth, feeling a little unfinished. He felt that wine was really magical. Just taking one sip of it made him feel dizzy, and at the same time his mind was filled with chaos. Vaguely, he seemed to see a big river crab, which came to him at some point, and was crawling at his feet, showing a flattering look. The colorful spiritual butterfly also flapped its wings and sprinkled colorful spiritual rain on itself all the time. The Red Carp King brought his large group of red carp to perform a carp dance for him. It feels so good, snoring. The fat cat started to snore when he was still conscious. At the same time, out of the corner of his eye, he seemed to see the 2 cooks, Big Fatty Yu and Chen Ronghui, thinking about what to do for him. Make the most delicious food in the world. Just such a scene appeared in its mind for a moment, and it fell asleep completely. Chen Ronghuo put the fat cat on the chair behind him, and at the same time used a bit of soul power to block out its purring, and started to continue drinking with several fellow disciples. Shamao's soft body was resting on the chair behind Chen Ronghuo. No sound could be heard, as if it were an orange cat skin. The party lasted for 2 hours. Previously, Chen Ronghuo was unwilling to waste his cultivation time and gather with a few people. But once he decides to participate in a party, he will not just sit aside and do nothing like a bystander. A few little jokes from Earthstar that he blurted out from time to time, coupled with his ease of handling, made him behave at the party with ease, and he was no longer the lunatic who only knew how to practice, and the martial arts idiot who only knew how to fight in the eyes of others. Senior brother Yang, senior sister Lu, and everyone else, I'll take my leave now. After the party, Chen Ronghuo said goodbye to everyone. I gained some insights during a previous battle, and I will be in seclusion for a few days. See you in 3 days. Okay, see you in 3 days. In front of the restaurant, everyone bowed their hands at Chen Ronghuo. Chen Ronghuo turned and left. When Chen Ronghuo's back disappeared, Li Man suddenly looked at Yang Ting, who was the strongest among them both in terms of cultivation and strength, and said, "Senior brother Yang, what do you think of our junior brother Chen? Strong talent, impeccable conduct, not to mention combat prowess, coupled with his great luck." Yang Ting shook his head. "Maybe it won't be long before we are surpassed by him. He is only in the middle of the 4th level now. He can't catch up with us so quickly, right?" Li Man didn't believe it. "Have you forgotten what he said before, that he has a lot of power of faith in his hands?" Yang Ting looked at the place where Chen Ronghuo's back disappeared and sighed. His words are probably not as simple as casual remarks. And when he just left, he said that he had some insights from this battle. If my guess is correct, when we see him again in 3 days, he will probably have reached the late 4th level. No way. As Yang Ting analyzed, not only Li Man, but all the other people who had just had a meal and drink with Chen Ronghuo were shocked. How long has Chen Ronghuo joined the Holy Tiger sect? How could he have cultivated from the early stage of the 4th stage to the late stage of the 4th stage so quickly? But they were not fools. After Yang Ting's reminder, they also realized that the few words that Chen Ronghuo had said casually before might not be as simple as casual talk. After all, if it was not necessary, Chen Ronghuo would not have to say that he had a lot of faith power in his hands. He might have said this to pave the way for his upcoming breakthrough. Otherwise, if Chen Ronghuo really broke through to the late stage of the 4th stage in a short time, not to mention others, even the few of them would probably think too much. Then let's wait and see after 3 days. Everyone looked at each other. Their expressions were extremely complicated, with both unwillingness and expectation. Even they themselves couldn't tell what they were thinking at this time. They didn't know whether they hoped that Chen Ronghuo could break through or not. Different disciples were assigned different residences in the Wuifangbalan. As a core disciple of the Holy Tiger sect, Chen Ronghuo was assigned a residence numbered 24. After separating from Yang Ting and others, Chen Ronghuo did not hang around, but went directly to the residence assigned to him by the sect. After using the Wuifangbalan identity card to open the restrictions outside the treehouse and entering the treehouse, he closed the door of the treehouse, adjusted his spirit, and began to retreat. After coming to this world for so long, he has developed the habit of quickly entering a state of concentration and practicing in seclusion. This is not very difficult for him. Because when he was on Earth, he could quickly concentrate whether he was studying or doing other things. The breath of the law of calamity was released by him from the sealed page of the ancient book and absorbed by his soul, which made his perception of the mystery of the law of calamity grow rapidly. At the same time, because of the calamity body and the natural calamity flame in his soul sea, his perception of the calamity law and the fire law also accelerated. Because all the alien energy that rushed into his soul sea would be automatically sealed by the ancient book as long as he did not actively prohibit it, so this time, he used the ancient book to seal the breath of these calamity laws without consuming any energy. I heard that Chen Ronghuo has only been in the Holy Tiger sect for more than 5 months, and when he joined the Holy Tiger sect, his cultivation was only at the early stage of the 4th level. In 5 months, he not only raised his cultivation to the middle stage of the 4th level. He also practiced the Holy Tiger Crazy Magic from the beginning, and practiced the Holy Tiger Crazy Magic to the middle stage of the 4th level. Isn't this too evil? Indeed, he is evil. I guess if Chen Ronghuo practices to the peak of the 4th level, then he Changqing, the core disciple of the Qinglai sect who ranks first on the Wuifangbalan list, will probably have to give up his position and let him be a sage. He is no match for Chen Ronghuo. That's right, but Chen Ronghuo has just practiced to the middle stage of the 4th level after all. Even with his talent, it is estimated that it is too difficult to practice to the peak of the 4th level in the next year. When Chen Ronghuo was in seclusion, the first day he came to the Wuifangbalan, the matter of fighting 30 games in a row, after a period of fermentation, broke out completely. In a short period of time, most of the topics in the entire Wuifangbalan revolved around him. Most people are jealous. But when a person's achievements far exceed the height that he can look up to, then all that is left is admiration. Especially in such a world where the strong are respected. At this time, most of the practitioners of Wuifangbalan, especially those of the 2nd and 3rd levels, after learning about Chen Ronghuo's deeds, have developed admiration for him and regarded him as their role model. And in this state, time has passed in a flash for 2 days. Demon Shadow Sect. Xuanhuan walked out of a dark cave under a mountain. After he walked out, a errant disciple who had been waiting outside immediately stepped forward and handed him a booklet and said, "Brother, this is the latest Wuifangbalan ranking. Okay, you go down." Xuanhuan took the booklet, gave the errant disciple a small toy, and waved coldly to let him leave. After the errant disciple left, he opened the booklet and flipped through the pages. Suddenly, Xuanhuan's eyes flashed, and his gaze fixed on a name in the booklet. This name was obviously Chen Ronghuo's name. After joining the Demon Shadow Sect, he learned a lot about the Demon Shadow Sect. Through understanding, he knew that if Chen Ronghuo wanted to contact them, the best way was to find a well-known place in the 5 Sects Alliance and make a name for himself. And the most well-known place in the 5 Sects Alliance is the 5 White Forest. So all along, he had asked his errant disciples to help him pay attention to the movements of the 5 White Forest, especially the changes in the rankings of the 5 White Forest. It seems that I have to apply to go to the 5 White Forest. Xuanhuan muttered to himself. Jinshan Sect. Lao He, I have news about the Lord. The day after Xuanhuan got the news about Chen Ronghuo, Zhu Daipen also excitedly found Li Haishui. After joining the Jinshan sect, the two of them worshipped Gao Shan, a late-stage 6th order cultivator of the Jinshan sect, and became Gao Shan's eldest and second disciples respectively. Their status in the Jinshan sect was also extremely noble. However, in the past 5 months, although the two of them lived very comfortably in the Jinshan sect, they thought about Chen Ronghuo all the time. Old pig, are you kidding me again? Li Haishui walked out of his residence and looked at Zhu Daipen suspiciously. Zhu Daipen was too unreliable. During this period of time, I don't know how many times he was deceived by this matter. Zhu Daipen said anxiously, I really didn't lie to you this time. Yesterday, a golden body warship returned from Wuifangbalan, and the news came out that the Lord went to Wuifangbalan a few days ago, and as soon as he arrived there, he fought 30 games in a row and won the position of the first person in the 4th level intermediate disciple of Wuifangbalan. Now this matter has spread all over our golden body sect. Li Haishui looked at Zhu Daipen's expression carefully, knowing that this time, Zhu Daipen might really not lie to him. But he still pretended to hesitate and said, then what do you mean? What else can I mean? Of course, I want to apply to go to Wuifangbalan as soon as possible. Zhu Daipen shouted anxiously. In his opinion, Following Chen Ronghuo to fight north and south is much more comfortable than staying in a behemoth like the Golden Body sect. Li Haishui, in that case. What else is that? Let's go. Zhu Daipen pulled Li Haishui out. Just as Huang Lin, Zhu Daipen, and Li Haishui were planning to go to Wuifangbilan, Chen Ronghuo, who had been in seclusion in the treehouse for 3 days, suddenly opened his eyes. If there were cultivators above the 4th level, using secret techniques to check in front of him, they would find that among the various laws of power lingering around his body, several had undergone transformation in these 3 days. From the middle stage of the 4th level, he transformed into the late stage of the 4th level. Pin and hang, don't change for 100 years, whoever changes will be the little cat. At this time, after 3 days, the fat cat finally opened his hazy eyes and woke up slowly.